Hey everyone, welcome to 2218's Attitude for Gratitude. And this is Tad, and I'm here with my best friend.
Timmy J.
Hey man, check us out, like us on Facebook, smash that like button.
The Alano Society of Minneapolis vision statement: to be the premier Alano clubhouse serving the greater Twin Cities that offers support and strength to those who suffer from addiction and their families.
I want to just take time before we get into everything else. We're going to put up a link right now, and I just want you to know that we are at our lowest membership in the 80 years we've been running. We're coming up. We have about 80 members.
Yeah,
It's never been below 200, and then it was 100, and here we are. So, being a member of your favorite squad, or being what is that, you might ask? So you pay a fee. It's what helps keeps the light on. It's belonging. It's something that the old timers all used to do. But we want you to be a member. You get to help one of the longest continually running Alano Club. I'm sorry, I get choked up when I talk about this place or anyone.
You're passionate about the place that helps
This
save your
place
life.
Saved my life,
And it saved
I love this
mine.
place. It has my heart. So anytime we have struggles, I struggle. And, that's one of my things. I have to separate that. But dealing with the issue at hand, we need volunteers. We need pledging members, which gives you the right to meet with your sponsor or sponsees in the room. We used to have a pool room. That might be a thing in the future. We're under construction. We're doing things. We've made some changes.
Yeah, well, a lot of this is, it's a direct result of COVID. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. But Tad touches on a very strong point that the memberships be part of. I can't stress it enough from coming from my corner, but I do weekly talk about this when I promote the club and tell you guys to donate or to come volunteer. This place saved my life. It was the only place for hundreds of miles that had their doors open when no one else had them open. There was online stuff.
It's an old building.
And
it costs more.
It saved my life too. So I go above and beyond to be a member here, and I know Tad does. And Dan J, we had on last week. He talked about that. He's a direct person that you could talk to about it as well. But it is important, and it's to be part of, which honestly, in recovery, that's what I've learned.
Be part of.
Be part of. Like, we don't need to isolate anymore. And that's just another facet of not isolating.
Part of me being solution oriented is coming on here instead of ripping what's happened, blaming COVID and blaming, we're down, new people suck, or whatever you would have you, is just passionately crying out and saying, hey, it's not the end of the world.
Nope.
But we need your help.
Yeah, we need help.
We need you to be a pledging member. And look, if this is an AA, people can donate. You can ask people for money. We've had people come on this show and their moms have donated $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
We've had that happen. That's okay. At the link, you can get a hold of me or Tim. Thank you guys for listening about that. Tim, what's going on with you this week?
Well, this last week, I shared with you guys a week ago about my employment situation. Some things happened. I heard some things that I know weren't intended for my ears, but it was a direct result of where I was working. And I can say a direct result of recovery allowed me to walk in and basically shake hands part ways in a responsible manner, to the effect of the old Tim would have probably not been free right now. I'd have been on an unwanted vacation due to my reaction to what I encountered. The reason I'm talking about that is I also shared that, one door closed, two opened up. Without looking actively for another job, this last week I've had 2 interviews that I wasn't looking for. I'm in a goals group. One of the guys in the goals group, he finds people employment, temp agency, headhunter, call it what you will, but I wasn't calling him for work. I was talking to him, checking in with a fellow addict about life. And I explained what happened, and he said, "Oh, what is it again you do? This, that, and the third." I explained, and within 2 days, I was sitting in front of someone talking about a 6-figure-a-year job for 2 hours. That was how long the interview went for. And I told I was being offered a job. That happened yesterday, matter of fact. And I guess what I like to talk about, for like the way my week went was unexpected. As I was, I looked at it as, all right, I don't have work. I'm going to take a couple weeks, this, that, it turned out beautiful. I didn't make any commitments yet because also, like I say, in recovery, I've learned that I reach out and speak with other people about what's going on. So I wrote down notes. I recorded my interview. I spoke with family. I spoke with friends, my connections. I haven't made any decisions, but it's nice to know that this recovery has afforded me the option to be patient, present, and able to hear that next right message. Call it what you will. I also share about, early recovery. I didn't know what the next right thing was. I had to keep coming back and hanging out to figure out what the next right thing was. So my week has been awesome. I was able to help someone out in recovery who needed some home improvements, and I was able to do it for like basically next to nothing because I was able to. It just comes down to that. So life's been good this last week. You'd think, a week after losing a job or quitting a job, life wouldn't be so hot, but it's been a highlight. This last week's been a highlight. I encountered some issues, family, whatever, and I got through it no problem. So life's great. How was your week, man, Tad?
Taxing. I mean, it's a lot of changes. Trying to looking for new work, looking just, still have the same job, but I'm doing new things. I think I found something in the warehouse that's going to suit my needs pretty good with friends in recovery. So that,
Okay.
working with people in recovery is probably a good place for me to be at. And I've been doing a lot of this stuff with the sober house, talking with newcomers and getting back to my roots, doing some stuff. Friend of ours suggested that I say the third step prayer every night with my girlfriend, and we do that. And then I do it sometime during the day, and I just try and take a little more time for God because that can't be bad.
Right, God conscious.
Yeah, and just something strange has happened, so I was kind of getting burnt out as I time to time do. I go to a lot of newcomer meetings, and I'm at a lot of newcomer places, so my cup, and do a lot, so my cup doesn't always feel like it's getting filled. And while doing these things with God, and while me and Mandy have been going to different meetings, checking out different meetings, like I went to one with you the other week,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and checking out new meetings, just people have been coming up and asking us to sponsor us when we've gone back to our newcomer meetings
Right, yeah,
because
that
we have a
happens.
new refreshed. We look refreshed everywhere. Mandy goes, I feel like she's getting 7 sponsees. And I've gotten 2, but we're not counting. Just kidding. But so it has shown me some things that it's refreshing. I need to go to different places. I need to hang out
Right.
with different people, and I need to continue to level up. I talked about this last week. I can't stay stagnant. I know this too. Is that like you said to me on the phone, Tim? Sounds like you know where you need to get, and you know it. You just have to get it.
Right.
You have to get it out of you. And sometimes the only thing in my freaking way is Tad.
A lot of the times.
Yeah.
A lot of it goes hand in hand with the whole, we're our biggest co-signer of our own shit.
Yeah.
And it goes hand in hand with that. Like, you don't need to be in recovery to even know that.
Right.
But you're right. When you're telling me those things, and this is what I'm going to talk about with the whole with my segment at 10 o'clock. But you're utilizing the connections you've made. You
Yeah.
knew you could have went off on a decision, and nowadays you don't have to do that. You reached out, you've done, and yeah, in a way I felt like I threw it in your face, but I'm like, dude, it's not like everything that you're supposed to do, you're telling me that you're doing, and I'm listening to you do it, and that's what you're doing.
Well, but I still don't. I'm still not where I think I want to be. And that's okay. Who do I have higher expectations of than myself?
Right.
So,
And I think that's a good thing, though.
That
That keeps us pushing ourselves.
If someone destroys something that's the most precious to me, not that that's happened, obviously I'm going to be devastated.
Well, yes.
And I'm not going to be okay in 15 minutes, 20 minutes. If my cat died today,
Right.
I would
Good
be
example.
fucked up. I would be fucked up.
Right.
And I wouldn't be okay tomorrow. And I wouldn't be this. If you've heard the story, you've heard the story. If you know. This cat saved my life, and we have a special bond. And I would be not okay for a while, and that's okay. And so to expect when something happens to be 100% and show up how you have even in the past in traumatic situations is unrealistic. So, I just,
It goes. I think it goes. It goes with this right here. I wrote this down earlier too. Stop telling God how big your storm is and start telling the storm how big your God is.
Right. That's exactly it.
Like, hey,
there's the solution.
There's the solution.
There's the solution, and that's what we want to hear. And a part of me still just, I'm living in the solution, but there's always a part of me, and sometimes it's bigger. Today it was bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't want to be in the solution. I want to tell people who I am, what I'm about, and put them in their place and tell them what to do. But people got to do their own thing. They get to be their own person. Tad's not in charge of the world. Thank God for that.
Yes.
It would be really messed up. Because when I'm even in charge of my own life, it goes.
But you know what?
It goes crazy.
What was it? 3 years ago, you maybe would have been able to know that, but you weren't seeing it that way.
No.
You weren't seeing it that way. You would have been able to, in your own head, you would have probably justified what the actions you were about to have.
2-3 years ago, I would have found a way to meet face to face with this individual.
Yes,
right. With, or I'd have been talking to everybody using this platform. I'd have been at the club doing it, bad mouthing them.
I wasn't sure how deep you were going to go on this, but you're right.
But that's how I was.
Right.
And look, I made some phone calls to some people that I trust, and everyone said, even if the sky was falling, we have your back. It's not. And someone else was like, look, I'm not around anymore, but if the sky ever does fall like that, I will come back around. I have your back.
Right.
We believe the
utilizing the connections that we've made.
And like we have friends too that will have our backs. So you know what? We'll figure it out. Who cares? We move forward. We move on with life. We're going to get through this together. And I can't do anything.
Like we were talking about membership. Like we do this thing together. We recover.
And I don't know why I forget this. Because
At war with our heads,
stories where
remember?
I say, I fixed squad council. I didn't do that shit. I called all my friends and we 10 of us. We got together and we did it.
Yes.
A group of us.
I mean, there's a lot of
just Tad up there doing
There's a lot of situations people can accomplish on their own, and we have, and you have to.
But even when I accomplish things on my own, I'm venting to you. Mandy's holding me up. My buddy JJ over here is telling me I have some inappropriate behavior and I need to show up better. Or what is it? Or just gives me a hug when I'm tired.
But that's the thing. Like even when I do something on my own today, I just shared about this whole last week.
Too.
I have a higher power that's involved. I also every decision I make nowadays, it's based off. I check my motives, and I learned that from recovery. So I may have done it myself, but it comes with a handful of decisions that were made prior to me making this on my own.
Hell yeah.
So everyone was involved.
What a great tangent we just went.
Yeah, that was a hell of an 11-minute tangent.
Right.
Huh? Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to 2218's Attitude for Gratitude. We got a couple great guests. One of them is not going to speak.
For the time being.
She's
Until,
shy. We have our friend JJ. You want to say hi?
What's up, guys?
You want to introduce your friend? Yeah, just
first names, we're good.
First name.
Megan. Welcome,
She's
Megan.
JJ's best friend. He's going to tell the story of how they met and the importance in their recovery today, and we'll talk some other stuff.
We'll hear her talk when he gets it wrong.
Right. Maybe she'll talk or just laugh.
Yeah.
Hopefully, and if she doesn't want to feel comfortable being on the show, maybe this will open the door for future.
Yes.
That being said, we love you all. We're excited for the show we have today. Share, smash the like button. My number, JJ put his number in there. Friends like JP, Tim did. Get a hold of me.
Yes.
Timothy, Jay Warren, get a hold of one of us. If you want to be on the show, if you have ideas for the show, if you have any other ideas, we're going to be rolling out some new social media stuff coming soon in the future.
And we're going to be announcing, when new meetings hit the block, all sorts of things. I was thinking about that when I saw JP hop on. I didn't mean to side rail this, but that Wednesday meeting that Tad and myself went to, that was a meeting JP had started. And I told him I had to talk about this, and we can do that. Just like you said, the club is struggling. If you can give, please give. If you're looking for a great meeting, they're all over, and we'll post them. And feel free to hop on this, like Tad was saying. Share this, like it, hop on this board and post meetings if you want. Use this platform for recovery.
Did you announce when and where that is?
Yeah, it's at 9. It's at 6:30 on Wednesdays, and that's at 2229 West Broadway.
Hey, you know what else is at 6:30 on Wednesdays?
What's that?
A young person's meeting here.
And
Our
that's-
friend Gavin started it. That's it.
At 6 o'clock. Yeah.
At 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm old. I'm an old person, so I got the time wrong, you know. But that's a young person's NA meeting,
Yes.
and you know what?
And that's starting to get
they
tread.
need attendance, and they need young people in there, and it's got the energy. You know, their age demographic is about 16 to 28, but
Or young at heart.
young at
Anyone?
heart.
Yes.
Young at heart, and you know, as always, these are young people needing guidance, so please don't bring your BS.
Yeah. No. And come with some guidance.
Come with guidance. We're not.
Yeah.
We don't go into these meetings looking for. It's not plenty of fish.
No.
It's recovery.
Yeah. And you know what? I think you know what. I might even switch up my topic later tonight. About
I don't
that.
want to. I've had to deal with
I know.
inappropriate people all week, and I don't want to.
I know I will, but yes, recovery is recovery. There's other places for other things.
And like, yeah. I
God,
mean,
we keep tangenting off, don't
yeah.
we?
So hey, let's not wait. You know what? We have made people wait for 6 months.
Longer than that.
A year. This man's supposed to have been on
Yeah,
the
a
show. and
year.
He had some personal. He had some personal conflicts. He had to reschedule,
Yeah.
and then we made him wait about 3 or 4
Yeah, it
months.
was
We've been
payback.
making you all wait for a year. Before we chop it up, the incomparable, the wonderful, the flamboyant, the great JJ.
JJ. Welcome, JJ.
I don't think anyone's ever got an intro like that.
Never. Not in 70 weeks.
That's what happens when you have to wait.
So get on that mic up nice and close and talk to us.
So, you know, friendships are something that mean a lot to me. You know, matter of fact, me and Megan, we've only known each other for a little over 2 months, and hanging out with her has changed my life completely. Like, we go to meetings together, we hang out after the meetings. You know, we're actually planning on going to the Day 90s and dancing. Like, it's, you know, it's the little things in life that change friendships. And with Megan, it's always different because of the fact that she's always got this upbeat attitude.
Right. That's what you found, like when you first met her, that's what drew you to her, or
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, like that was the first thing. Like, she was bubbly and she was like wanting to get into the, you know, into the grit, and the nitty gritty, and get into the fellowship.
I've seen her probably like 10, 20 times around at meetings. I don't know if you know that, and I don't think I've never seen you not smile.
I've seen you at meetings before.
Have you ever seen her? Look,
I
she's
didn't know
trying
that.
not to smile now. Right now,
Yeah,
she's still
yeah.
smiling. We'll try not to. Have you seen her?
No, the
You
few times I've
always
seen
have
you,
a
yeah.
smile.
When you came in with him, I was like, when I gave you a hug, I was like, wait, do we know each other? Because I always, when you meet so many people in recovery, you see so many people that, you know what, I just talk, give me a hug, I'm not sure, I'm sorry if I don't remember your name, but
And that's something we never notice. And I know, you know, you've been in the program for a while.
Oh, yeah.
So you might, you know, I just got the pleasure on Tuesday of giving JJ his 6 month, and I almost,
6 months.
Yeah. And, you know, I almost teared. I said some really nice stuff. I'm blanking out on what I said, but I meant all of it. And I'll tell you what.
You were speaking from the heart. We
Yeah.
never remember what we
3,
say
4
when we
months
speak
ago,
from
the
the heart.
stuff I said wasn't true of him. And I might have even said that. I don't know if I did. But so he stepped his game up. And JJ and I get the pleasure to serve at a little meeting on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock called
Breaking the Bad.
Breaking the Bad, where's that at?
It's right here at 2218.
What room?
right here.
It's
at JJ
Breaking the
State
Bad
Park
at 7
around-
o'clock on Tuesdays? Or
Yeah,
what? On
CMA.
Tuesdays.
CMA?
Crystal Meth Anonymous.
All right.
And-
Go ahead.
He has stepped up in a major way. You know, he's now the secretary, and he was interim secretary for a little bit. And I'm in the background. I do the
Yeah,
treasurer
you
stuff,
kind of started sliding
but
back
I've been
to let
letting
them.
JJ
Yeah.
make the decisions, and you know, even like the way JJ has shown up to that. So me and JJ have a history.
History?
We've known each other, and we've been catty with each other. You've told me off before.
Well, real quick, I'm gonna interject if the audience didn't hear this. Is Tad? All right, we just shared about knowing each other over a year, what happened 18 months ago, this, that, and you just heard him say he just gave him a 6-month chip. So that, read between the lines. He's been working at this. And it hasn't been a perfect 18 months or 2 years or 4 years. We're going to get into that.
I met JJ before I relapsed last time.
There you go. So you've known him for almost, what, 3-4 years more?
3-4 years off and on. Yeah, 4
Okay.
years.
So, and we're going to talk, I'm going to dig into that. Go ahead.
And we both have attitudes at times. I guess that would be fair, right?
I'd say so.
Oh, we got big personalities?
So we've clashed just by just saying hi to each other. Me and him have almost got in fights at times.
Oh yeah.
Where have you been? I've been here. This is my home group. I haven't seen him for 6 months. Like, so me and JJ can go at each other. It's kind of like brothers fighting, I think, now looking at it. And the thing that struck me, so this time when I came back, at first I listened to JJ, and then I don't know what happened. And then I went through my phase, still going through it, when I grow out of it. When he came back this time, he listened to me. Like, I gave him some advice, and he went to open his mouth, and he said, you know what, I'm going to listen to you. And I was like, what the fuck? What happened to my friend Jay? I was expecting him to scream at me. I was expecting, like, to drag him in the back and hit him with the big book or whatever. Whatever they used to do. But that's not what he did. And he has shown up through doing the steps and just shutting up and listening. He used to have, how long were your shares before?
Oh God. Well, I know one of the first times I did open topic, and I shared the whole meeting. I didn't even give a chance for anybody else. So so about an hour to about 10-15 minutes now.
How long are your shares now?
Now they're maybe 3-5
Why?
minutes.
Tell me why.
Because I learned that sometimes you got to shut your mouth and listen to what everybody else has got.
When did that get up on that mic? Or move that closer to him if you could.
Be closer.
Yeah, that mic,
Am I not
sometimes I
close
got a
enough?
message that you sound a little distant, and it sucks.
good,
You
that's
just got to be
good.
up close, like, if you're able to. So what I was going to ask you about that is, so, and I know I'm watching people hop on left and right. Welcome, Johnny Mick. So you just got your 6 months. And I know I've only been to the CMA meeting a handful of times. You're there every time. Kudos. What was it? I know you just said you decided to just be quiet, but when was that point where you realized, all right, well, shit, not everyone needs to hear what I have to say, or whatever the reason was? When was that? What was it? What was going on? Talk to us about that.
So a lot
Why
of
you
the times
switched
it
it?
was, I was listening to other people, but at the same time, I was like taking over the ego, and I was like, this is my show, not your show. And it took me to talk to my sponsor about it, to really tell me that, it's okay to just shut the fuck up and be quiet. But now, like, learning that, it makes it a little bit easier for me to kind of understand that you don't have to always have something to say. You can just sit back, relax, and listen.
Right. And that's, have you noticed, what kind of growth have you noticed because of doing that? Have you noticed any growth out of doing that, or you've learned things, or like, what kind of epiphanies, or call it what you will, have you noticed by doing that?
So I've noticed that by doing that, I'm allowing myself to listen to other people. And when I'm listening to other people, I'm understanding what they're going through. And I can give back advice, or, well, not advice, but give back suggestions that'll help them out. Sometimes it's just a little rough, because sometimes I just want to get what I want out, and sometimes I get passionate.
Right.
And I can't stop myself. But I've learned now to just be able to stop and listen, and be able to limit it just to a little bit. And if I need to say more, I can always pull them aside.
That's,
Yeah.
I get to, the reason I kind of sidelined it right when you started talking about that, Tad, with the shares. That was a big thing for me. Early recovery. Shit, it is now sometimes. This podcast feeds my ego on getting to talk. But I did that, and like I was like, what's up, Johnny Mick? We got someone on here with, I don't know, he's going to eventually be on the show. I give him guff about coming on. He's one of the old timers I was telling you about, Tad.
Love you,
And
JP.
it's these guys, I get to be passionate, but because of what you're sharing about now, what I'm digging into you about, I don't know when that point was, but I always was sharing. Like in early recovery, I had to share, and it wasn't for I don't want to say not the right reasons. It was more or less like I thought I had all this knowledge to give to all these people with 3 months. I had 3 months, never in recovery, just got off the needle.
And you do have something to give.
And yes, everyone's voice is
Sometimes
valid.
The guy off the street, you're the most relatable. But at that point, if you're a meeting,
But I was over there I was giving suggestions.
30, 40.
Right.
Oh, you were telling.
I was giving suggestions like, nah, like because my head was telling me I had something important to tell people how to do something.
Well, let me ask you this: raise your hand in this room if you've been in recovery before and you've ever done that.
No.
All three of us.
Yeah.
raised-
Yeah, but
the
and
two
that's
people
why
behind
that's
the
why I'm
computer
asking
raised
like
their hand. Everyone in this room raised their
yeah,
hand. We've all been there.
And it's the same like I don't know. I like to hear like when someone relapses. My biggest question is what was that moment before you picked up? What was going through your head? Because I'm always curious about it, and everyone sounds different, but they're usually the same.
And I was gonna say, I just looked down and JP just said it. I have a Facebook group. It's called Hugs Not Drugs, and man, you can come in there. You can post whatever you want. You can come in there and ask out. Get some help. I'm
Look it up.
doing a
Hugs
mentor.
Not Drugs on Facebook.
I'm doing a mentorship on there as well. So if you need to mentor somebody or you want to mentor somebody, you can come do that. And it's basically what we're talking about tonight, friendship. Like that's the way to build friendship and hang out with people that you have never hung out with before.
So your friendships in this program are one of your most important things, or family.
Oh yeah.
What has been the difference? Because I notice you hang out with different people than you used to.
So
For a reason.
yeah.
Just see where your recovery went. People can probably read between the lines, but I'd
Oh,
like
yeah.
to hear your.
Oh yeah. So I've had to cut out a lot of people, even people in recovery. So what happened is the day I actually was supposed to come be on the podcast, I relapsed, and I ended up hanging out with the wrong people, and I started doing the old behaviors, old actions, and I started gaining friends, but they were the ones that I didn't need. And then when I got back into recovery, I was still talking to those people, but I realized that now it's time for me to grow up. It's time to be an adult, and it's time for me to actually do the things that I need to do. And so what happened is I just completely changed my lifestyle. But as I changed my lifestyle, I cut out all my friends. I said, screw this. I'm starting a whole new friendship base, and we'll see what happens. And some of them old friends came back, and really was now part of my recovery group. And then there's people like Megan who I just now got, and the difference between it is, yeah, I can go to them and I can tell them certain things, but with Megan and my friend Ashley and other people in recovery, I can tell them the same story, but I can give them the entire full story, and I can trust what's going on in the process.
What's that like? So you're talking about having a best friend who you're honest with.
Oh yeah.
And they're honest with you.
Yep, I have a couple of them, but Megan is one of the big ones.
Do you think how huge is that for you in this recovery?
Oh man, it's changed my whole life. Like, just to be able to have somebody that I can go to has made me feel, just the most amazing. The last time I had a friendship like this, they ended up leaving me and changing everything about my life. And I wanted to keep them as a friendship, but at the same time, the last time I tried to keep somebody that was toxic, I went downhill. And so now, like, just being able to have people there that are wanting to go to meetings and that are wanting to do fellowship and that are wanting to come and sit with me in a podcast or wanting to just go and do something.
To be a real friend.
Yeah, just to
Not
do
for
something.
any financial gain, for
Yeah.
any notoriety, but a real friend.
Yeah, somebody that can just, be my ride or die.
Right. You quoting you, friends you didn't need. You said that the night you were supposed to be on the show, you went and hung out with friends you didn't need. What do you mean?
So, like most people, like, everybody, I've always been told by my sponsor and by Tad and by you, Tim, don't go hang out with people that are using. And, I was like, oh, well, I have this strong recovery. I can go hang out with who I want. Well, it just took to see a cloud. It kind of made me understand that Yeah, like
Yeah,
just-
a cloud?
just seeing like a cloud. You know what I mean?
No, I was showing him. I was showing him a picture of someone blowing a vape cloud, but what you mean is basically you got around people using, and that was a trigger enough for you to be like, fuck it. And was that it?
Yeah,
Like it was that
yeah.
easy?
Yeah, wrong people, places, and things. That's just what it was.
I didn't know. See, I thought to go into my head for a second was that when you said I was hanging out with people that I didn't need, I thought you meant there was people in recovery that you knew weren't good, but you still were hanging out with them.
Oh no.
So these were
There
old using
toxic
friends.
people.
Well, yeah, no, yeah. Don't get me wrong. There were
Oh,
toxic.
there's toxic,
There
yes.
were toxic recovery friends, but I.
You were hanging out with the old
I
using
went to
friends.
I went to the old using friends instead of actually hanging out with the winners and staying with the winners like I should have.
Well, and I've shared this before, like in early recovery. Yeah, that's what I was saying right away. In early recovery, like people said, hang out with the winners, do the next right thing. For me, at 2 months, I didn't know what that was.
Yep.
What do like I
Right.
said, I just came off a needle for 10
Right,
years.
exactly.
What do I know what the next right thing is? I've been doing, my head's still so cloudy. How am I going to find what a winner is? To me, a winner was the dude who had 9 numbers to 9 different plugs. I didn't know. So, I mean, that's where a little bit of our own judgment, this, that, and the third, we try to, whatever the case. So then I'm going to still kind of pick apart that Friday night you didn't show. I didn't know what the reason was. Whether you went back out, whatever, flaky.
Before you go there. So
Go
the
ahead.
The next week, I tried to get him on the show for a month after he relapsed. He said no.
And I remember because I said, no, I want someone fresh off
yeah,
relapse.
and
I was really
we had
interested in it. I wanted to pick your
Had
head.
we done a relapse show before that or no?
No.
And he said no. And I can't, and not banging him because I don't know that I would, fresh off a relapse. I actually 100%
Well, with
know I
the
would. tell you
guilt,
to-
with the shame,
I would
or whatever
pro-
goes on in your head.
I would probably tell you to F off in
I
most
would-
times.
and that's the thing. I was going to, but then that's what I went into. Is what I got into my head. And I was like, oh, guilt, shame.
Sure,
what
whatever
are
it
they gonna
is,
say
yeah.
Oh,
about me?
I
Are they
bugged
gonna
him
pick
for a
my head?
month, and he didn't want to, and I said okay. And then eventually,
Yeah, you gave up after you dropped it.
I dropped it, and
Yeah.
then eventually he said he wanted to be on the show, and I
Oh,
made
yeah.
and
And
I
you
made
made
him
him
wait. We made him wait.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
God,
talked
yeah.
about it.
Oh yeah, we made him wait. We
Because
said,
it turned-
let's see
I
if
think
he's
it-
gonna stick
yeah,
with this,
yeah.
and let's see now.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Because it
and-
moved from we want someone off a fresh relapse to pick their brain about it and kind of use you honestly, to okay, now he's game. Now we'll wait it out.
let's
To
see
your
where he's at in
benefit,
a
to our
month.
benefit.
Let's-
Oh, yeah.
And and then we had to push you, and then we were like, okay, well, and that and JJ, his behavior's changed in the time that we made him wait.
Dude,
from,
just
like,
watching you, just sitting here listening to you, I know you've changed from when I first met you a year or 2 years ago. I think it was no, it was one of these nights here.
So
Early recovery. Early.
JJ is unique.
Yeah,
And
to say the least.
We're similar in a way, and maybe he has more flair for the drama than I do.
I might.
We
You're
we
both passionate
like
people.
pageantry and putting on shows and being pageantry. We both
Center of
enjoy that.
attention.
Yeah, center of
Center of
attention.
attention.
That's,
So-
that's mine.
They talk about it in the big book, and I have watched JJ go from putting on a show when he does shares to sharing from his heart, and that's no one can get you there. I tried to have a talk with him, and I don't know. I don't know what happened. We had one good talk outside about a year ago about suicide and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
When I was suicidal,
Yep, that was about a year ago.
and that was the last time, other than recently, that I got to see my friend JJ, and I formed a bond with him, and then he went away, and so not to make it about me, but so to see that you're back,
Yeah.
and you're more you than you were.
Oh yeah, I've changed immensely. Man,
Oh, we're starting to get JJ meeting stories on here.
Oh, are we?
You know what, Tanya? Them are beautiful words. She wrote, "Be around the people that are speaking life into you. The people that inspire to want to grow and evolve into a better you."
And the thing about JJ that I'll say, because you're seeing it on here, nobody ever forgets you when they meet
Nope.
you. 'cause
Oh, no,
you're
never.
unique.
Nope.
And you have learned, rather than getting attention out of that, how to use that for good.
oh,
And the good helps heal you, and it helps you stay clean, but you're helping others now.
yeah. And what's even crazier is even when I was out using, like 90% of the people that are in recovery were still trying to contact me, like Stoner and
Stoners on here showing love.
You know,
Yeah,
all sorts of people I was in like,
When you weren't around, people were concerned.
oh yeah, they wanted to know where I went, and I was like,
I can't
I
wait
do-
till Stoner's on the show in the future.
Oh,
"Right,
yeah.
Stoner, you're gonna get on the show." It was weird because it was like, I don't want to hear from you people. Like, I'm doing my own thing,
Right.
and just to hear that they were, concerned, made me feel so much better in the inside. And that was part of the reason why I did come back. Not only because I relapsed and, I was using and I overdosed and died, but just having that person in the back of your head saying, just keep coming back, just keep coming back. Like, nobody wants to hear that shit while you're
Not while you're using.
not
no.
while you're using. 'Cause
Right,
then you're
right.
like, what the hell? But
Right.
it was great to just be able to, sit
You
there.
knew you were coming back to open arms.
Oh yeah,
You
and,
knew that.
And even when I did come back, I didn't want to go to a meeting because I didn't want to be ashamed. I didn't want people to be like, oh well, you went and used, so you're not who you used to be, and blah blah blah.
So,
But-
do you think your head? I cut you off. I'm sorry. I'm going to work on that. I just don't want to forget to ask you while you're saying this. Now that you did come back, though, would you give a percentage? Was it 100% just your head telling you that? But you get back in the rooms, did you feel that shame from people? Did you feel like people were really talking
Oh
shit?
no, it was all definitely 100% in my head.
It was.
Yeah, because it was like, I got back in the rooms and like people were just like open arms, glad you're back, like stick around this time, come to a meeting, like here's my phone number. And then there was meetings that I've been to where like I mentioned I relapsed, and then it felt like once I said that, everybody was looking at me, and like it just felt like everybody was ashamed. But I think 90% of when you share that you've relapsed, it's all in your head when you think about it. When you really think about it, like, so you relapsed, and then you tell them that you're gonna like, oh hey, I relapsed, and in your head you're already processing everything bad that's gonna go on. Like they're gonna shame you, they're gonna guilt you, they're
Do you
gonna not
remember-
want to welcome you.
You remember your first time back to CMA?
Oh man, first time back to CMA,
You
I
pulled me out to have a cigarette because you
Yeah.
thought you were having a panic attack.
oh yeah, I was
And that was the first time you ever asked me for advice.
yeah, that was the very first time.
And he says to me like, "What do I do? People are judging me." And I was like, "Hey, bro, if they judge you, you send it to me, and I'll fucking handle it with an attitude." And
He
was
sure
like,
did.
Okay.
He did.
Okay.
Well, I think that's huge because it usually doesn't end up happening. Our heads do tell. I gotta quote Rob, man. Our heads do. We're at war with our heads a lot without knowing it. Our heads tell us some bullshit sometimes, and we come to find out most of the time it's wrong.
Well, and he's a huge reason why when I left NA, he was one of the, not the only, but he was a big advocate, and he was even friends with my sister.
Yeah.
And he was, dude, it's your program too. She doesn't have a fucking monopoly on meetings.
See, and this was before his last relapse, and
Yeah,
the last
oh,
one
but
before that.
when I came back,
Like,
like you have a
yes.
right to be in any meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he, and so he was a huge, he was
An
that was
asset
his
to recovery.
constant
Yeah.
message.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so all I tried to do was be a good friend and, in my Tad way, because like me and JJ went from being really chippy with each other to smart comments to like, you know what? If I need a hug, this is the motherfucker I'm looking for.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes on Tuesday, I go hard on Tuesday just to get my JJ hug.
Oh yeah.
I'm not even serious. Like, I'll come in on Tuesday and I'll fall on him.
Oh yeah. He almost crushed.
I'll be
us.
like, I had a rough day, dude.
Yeah, he's that-
move on.
yeah.
I can move on now.
I know Tad's not the only one who looks at you that way too. I know you've got a network of people like
yeah.
we've already shared. Like this is a stroke JJ's ego show. Yeah, look at just listen to what half the people are writing on here. And you know what? Side note: anyone listening, if you have questions for JJ, Tad, myself, Megan,
Oh, yeah, punch that
anyone,
in.
or if you just want a topic being brought up, post it. This
Yeah,
is your show.
In any topic you guys want us to talk about tonight, we cover if you talk about it.
So,
we'll
quick
do our best.
question for you, JJ, is I gave you a ride home once. It was down off, I think it was in Hopkins. It was off 7 or Excelsior. We took 169. We turned right on to, I think.
Is that when we
then
were
left.
talking about?
Yeah,
You
I was
still
in
there?
Hopkins. Nope, I actually moved from there. I'm
Okay,
now,
no.
no
I just want to
excuse.
confirm before I go to my next question. That place you were living, I remember when I dropped you out, this was right before a relapse because
Yeah.
this was before your, I don't know if you remember the ride. I don't know if you were using at the time. You were not the normal JJ. And you're like, I got to go back to this house. The dude I live with, he's using.
Yeah.
And I knew, I don't know. I tried to get in your ear about it, but you know what? It's where you rested your head. Was I willing to say, come stay at my house instead? That wasn't even brought up. You were just like, I stay here. This dude I live with, or girl, I don't even know. You said the person I live with is using or banging meth. It was something.
Yeah.
Was that part of a relapse because of where you're living, or was that something? What was going on there?
No. So
And how'd you get out of it?
So the thing is like, it was
Without names.
No, yeah, okay. So it was shortly after that is when I went back and I started using again, and I was using in that house with that person, and you know, it took. Oh God, I think I was using for like 3 months there, 4 months there, and then he finally kicked me out, and then I was on the street in Minneapolis, and
Was that before this last? Was this your last rah-rah? Or
this was the last hurrah.
okay, so
like,
yeah.
Yeah, so like I got thrown right on the street. I was living, I wanted to say paycheck to paycheck, but more or less, I was this, that, and another with other people, and I finally, I was with a friend. Hint, hint, with a friend, and
Hint, hint.
we were using, and we went to this hotel, and I overdosed on GHB, and I died twice. Once in the hotel room, and then once at the hospital. And it was so bad that they called my mom and told her that she might have to come, Claim the body? No, not even claim the body. More or less, like, she had to come and, like,
Deal with you?
deal with it. Like, do you want him off the ventilator, or do you want to keep, or should we just keep him on there? It was to that point. And my mom came down, and as soon as, as soon as it was like I felt her presence. And
Were you in a coma, or were you just?
no, I flatlined
Okay.
for a minute and a half. And when they brought me in, they immediately notified my mom.
Okay.
So my mom came down, and when she was on her way, that's when I died the second time, and I got to, like, all of a sudden I don't know, it was weird. Like, she showed up, and it was like my body just knew that she was here.
You felt her presence.
Yeah, and I like came to, and like I tried to rip the fucking thing out of my mouth, and like and it was bad. I didn't know what to do, but I'm grateful that I had my mom, and
She's a big part of your life.
oh yeah, she's like a lifesaver.
If you haven't experienced this, not that you want to try, by the way, don't die and come back. There's nothing like waking up after you've been dead, huh, JJ?
Oh yeah, it's the experience.
Oh my God.
The experience was like nothing. I mean, like I've heard a lot of people say, like, when you die, it's black. You don't see shit. Like, no, like I died. I saw my dad. My dad talked to me.
So you had an experience.
Like, yeah, like it was like a spiritual awakening, and like it was literally my dad finished talking to me. My body sensed my mom was there, and I woke up, and to not know what's going on, and to not, like, I had no hearing. I couldn't hear anything, and they're like trying to get me to talk, and I couldn't talk. And
You're out of sorts.
oh yeah, it's
Discombobulated.
almost like my whole body shut down, and man, like I
So
can't.
I want to slow this down a little bit. You're in the hospital. You're not with it. You're
Better.
so you're having what's going on with your dad now? What was that?
My dad passed away in 2019.
Okay.
And like when I died, like instead of going to heaven, like I saw my dad, and my dad was telling me, you have a lot more going for you. Like there's something in recovery that you need to be there for. Like you have to go back. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like you have to go back. And as soon as he finished, that's when like my mom showed up, and I
Okay.
was just like, I woke up, and I had no hearing. Like I couldn't hear. Like my vision was very blurry. They they were like showing me cards like with words on it, and I couldn't even see. I couldn't talk. I couldn't do anything, and they basically were telling my mom I might be a vegetable because they don't know
No response.
what was going on.
Like no motor skills, no nothing.
I
You
had
weren't.
I couldn't move. The only motor skill I had was to move my hands to pull this, to pull the
Breathing tube?
breathing tube out of my throat, and there was not. That was it. Like that was the only movement I had. I couldn't move my legs. I couldn't move. Like I couldn't sit up. I couldn't do anything.
So then you can't. What was the process from that? All right. So do you recall this? Do you
Yeah,
recall like you recall things being
Like it's
blurry
tomorrow.
and trying to pull this out?
Oh yeah.
Then what? It's kind of go through it. You don't have to every second, but go through the where you came to a point of talking, to saying what happened. What talk to us?
Like so, when I was able to actually, well, so right before I
Are you okay talking about it?
Yeah, oh,
Okay.
talk,
Yeah.
yeah.
Then I want us to hear about that.
So like right before I actually came to like to where I could talk, they pulled the breathing tube out and like they told me like it's gonna take a while to actually talk. But when I was able to talk, like I literally only thing that I could remember was what happened. Like that's the only thing I could get out of my mouth is what happened. What happened? Why am I at the hospital? What happened? And they're like, well, at least you know where you are.
Yeah.
And when they explained to me that a guy that's supposed to be one of my close friends left me in a hotel room and basically allowed me to
Left you to die.
die, and and they explained it all to me. I was shook, like I didn't know what was going on, and my mom disowned me. She was like, until you can get your shit together, I don't know who you are. You're no longer my son until you can get your life together. And that shattered my heart.
Right there in the hospital.
In the hospital.
Yeah.
And she walked out. And right before she walked out, I said, I wish I could die again so that I don't have to hurt you anymore. Oh, man. And looking back at it, like, that was a shitty thing for a son to say to his mom. But at that moment, like, I was pissed because now I'm not high.
Is that how you felt? Like,
Oh, I
truly,
was-
looking back,
I-
is that were you
oh.
trying to hurt her, or is that how you felt?
I think more or less it was me just trying to hurt her.
Okay.
So she would turn around and talk to me.
And stay.
And
Well, here you just died. You came back because mom's in, and not saying anything about mom. We have to, and that you're in shock. You just died, and like, oh my gosh, you're never gonna see me again. Boom.
yeah, it was something that really blew me apart.
It's that old Wyatt Earp pistol reaction. You just
Yeah, it was just like, well, here, you want to be a
we're
you
gonna
wanna
play
be
that
a-
game. I got one for you.
Right, like you want to be a bitch, well, I'll be a bitch back. But the funny thing about it is like my mom and my sister are my biggest supporters.
They're your support
Man,
group.
my mom has been there through thick and thin. Don't get me wrong, she was there from when I first started using until the day I stopped using.
Would it be safe to say she was over it?
Oh, she was done.
You put her through enough?
But here's the thing, like I should have known, because when I was using before, she told me straight out. She's like, you can't come to the house. You can't sleep here. Nothing until you're ready to actually get your
Well, and
shit
you were
together."
over it at times too. We've
Oh
had
yeah. Oh,
conversations.
especially after I was just in the hospital. Like when I was in the hospital, I was done. I was like, I'm not using anymore. And then what did I do? I called the idiot that left me to die so I could go get high again, because that's where my mind was. And I think it was like, I want to say it was like 2 weeks. 2 weeks I continued to use, but here's the thing.
After you got out of the hospital, your mom left. You went back to.
Oh, I went right back.
You
to
went
it.
back out.
I was pissed. I wanted to go back out and get high.
Okay.
But I didn't go back to GHB. I stuck to only smoking meth.
Oh, just math.
Yeah.
Just
it's one-
math. Just a little math on
you
Tuesdays.
know, one for the other, whatever. And it only lasted about 2 weeks, and then I went into treatment. And
Inpatient.
it was an outpatient with lodging.
Oh, okay.
So here we go. Let's look it out there. I went to Navon Wellness Center.
Okay.
And Dude, when I say that, they are an amazing company. They are a fucking amazing company. Like, they have done so much for me.
What's the name of it again?
Navon Wellness Center.
Okay.
And they've done so much. They've helped me through a lot. Um, I don't know. It's weird how, like, you go to some treatments and they're there to help. Like, this treatment center was like there to help. If you had anything that you needed to say, the counselors would listen. They'd bring it to management. They'd bring it to the uppers. And
This place it's monumental in saving your life.
oh yeah, like, I would recommend, if you know somebody that's looking to get into treatment, find a treatment center, get in there. You don't even have, matter of fact, you can go there and do your Rule 25. They'll even do it.
They'll do it right there. You go there, you go check, basically go there.
Oh, yeah.
Just go there.
Yep, they'll do it for you. What is this question?
It was basically talking about how do you even explain it? I saw my mom too when I died during my stroke. My mom and my stillborn daughter. Christina, you did explain it. You kind of went into your experience. I believe I believe everyone's experience with a near death is going to be different.
I went off in my own little world thinking about mine and got sidetracked for a while and went down rabbit holes for a second.
And I think at the end of the day, what you can, anyone who's been there can look at is you're here. You've been given that second chance. There's lots of people who did not.
I believe.
What your
dad said to you, I believe that wholeheartedly. There's a reason that you're here,
so do
and
I.
there's a reason for recovery. I have a couple questions before we get on the.
Real quick, Ted, we do have someone who's listening right now. Teresa, thank you for listening, and sorry about your loss. She just lost her daughter 2 days ago.
Oh my God.
And we love you. Thank you for the support. She's been one of my mom's friends, been a supporter since day one. I love you, Teresa, and the support's there. The reason it wasn't planned that JJ is talking about this,
No, not at all.
but this is, and however her daughter's not with us anymore, my friend, whether it had something to do with recovery or not, the bottom line is that's not the way this design was meant to go. Parents aren't supposed to bury their children.
No, not at all.
And when we do things like you're talking about, look how close both of you were. You're both talking about death experiences. You saw a light. You saw whatever you saw. You're talking to your dad who was gone, and now you're here. What I like to say is you've been given that second chance, third chance, fourth chance.
45th.
You know what I'm saying? And there's people out there that we all know that didn't get that second chance, and they wish they're here. So it's I want to grab someone like you and just be fucking take advantage.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But we all know, I know as well as both of you, no one can do that. I can't make you want to get recovery. I can't make you want to stay. So
that's
sorry,
the thing.
Ted, I cut you
And
so
that's,
off.
I just, before we get to the Tim segment here at the halfway point, I want to just say, JJ, you struggle with suicidal thoughts and ideation.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking before your relapse and before you died.
Oh,
and
all my
it was
life.
all your life. It was very prevalent at the end before you started using again.
Oh, yeah.
And when you were using again, it was you were reaching out, you were screaming.
Oh yeah.
And what's that been like since after you died? I'm just curious. So you die and you come back. I'm sure thoughts are still there sometimes, but is it different now?
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely still have the thoughts of suicide. But now I look at the brighter side of things. I think about the people I'm going to leave behind. I think about my mom. I think about, the meetings that are going to, miss me. I think about everything else around me instead of just myself. And I don't think of it as being selfish anymore. And I'm more in tune with what's going on, and I care about the people around me. Even the people that are listening, I may not know all the people that are listening, but I still love everybody, and I'm always going to be there for them.
For those of us who have experienced it, I think it changes us.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because you and I were similar in that aspect, and I don't hear you talk about suicide anymore. I don't hear you say you want to die anymore.
Oh no.
And I went through, when I got vulnerable with you, I wasn't running around telling everyone that I was suicidal. I still was depressed. JJ was one of 4 people I shared it with. And I didn't talk about it till I was out of it, other than with my therapist. And a group of us sat out on the porch here at 2218 and all said that we were all going through that. So we shared it. But before that, myself and JJ might agree, the embellishing, the thing, and it was a big part of it. But when we both came back, our stories are different, but we're similar in this. It's not there anymore, and it's not to say that suicidal thoughts aren't there. It's that we have a reason to live for.
Oh yeah,
because we died.
Oh yeah, that's what And sometimes I do think that there's no reason for me to live, but then I go back to like all the things that I've accomplished in my life, and all the people that I've impacted, and all the things that I want to do in the future. And not only that, like I go back into thinking about my dad, and I'm like, your dad would want you to be the best man that you can be right now and help out your mom because, like Tim said, no parent should ever have to bury their child. And if I would have kept going, like my mom would have had to bury a child.
Yeah.
And not just any child, but her baby. You know what I mean? Like being the last one and knowing that, my mom had to bury me because of it, like it's really shitty. And in treatment we did this thing. And we had everybody that's ever overdosed, ever done, any of that, basically lay on the floor, and they did like a funeral.
Really?
They did a full-blown funeral.
Kind of tell us about that in depth.
And so the way that it happened is that, anybody that's overdosed, anybody that's, wanted to commit suicide, whatever, they made you lay on the floor. And there was like 3 or 4 of us. And what they did is they did a whole eulogy for each person. And then they took like this big piece of paper and like they covered you so it seemed like you were now in the ground, and all you could do was listen to, like I didn't even know these people that well, and like I could hear them crying, and I could hear them like freaking out, and it brought
That sounds awful.
Yeah, oh, dude, and yeah, and it like the worst part is when they cover you with the paper, it was like you're in the ground, and then like hearing people that like I don't know crying and like really mourning us being dead, that's what messed my head up. Like that was like, and then after you're done, they asked each person, how do you feel? Like what if your family had to do this process, how would you feel? And like I had no words. I was crying the whole time because I don't know what I would feel.
Right. They had us inpatient. They had us write our own eulogy. They had us write.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, there's some
I think I did that
visualization.
once,
There's a
but
name for what
I did a shitty job. Like I was an asshole. Like
Yeah, I was a
that
smart ass too.
I think I wrote a rap.
Did you?
Yeah, I rapped it.
Yeah, it all rhymed. I did. I made a joke out of it, but I knew the serious nature of what they were doing and what they were trying to do, and it's the truth. What really hit me hard was when our counselors started talking about, just close your eyes, picture your parents dressed in your dad in a suit, your mom in whatever best clothes she has, and they're standing over your corpse type.
Oh yeah.
And it got to me. It did.
Right.
It turned that whole joking situation into
And
something
what
serious
you've
for
been
me.
through, yeah.
Yeah, and it just.
Because like I tend to go like, you know what, no one's gonna show up. It's gonna be
Sometimes
maybe
our heads,
my mom
and then
dad will
and then
show
there
up.
might be some mental health issues too. Like that's part of this recovery. I mean, there's responsibilities to yourself to follow through with that doctor's appointment, that therapy appointment, that psychiatrist appointment. That comes with it. And I put, anyone is struggling or thinking suicide, like first and foremost, you're loved. We tell you every week.
You're
If no one's
valued.
told you today, I love you. 1-800-273-8255. I put it on there. Suicide prevention hotline. Just
If you're ever going through a hard
Yes.
time and you just need someone to talk to, contact someone. A bunch of people put their numbers.
yeah,
up
we've
there.
all got our numbers on there. Reach out. We're here for you.
So we're gonna shift gears. It's a little bit past Tim 10.
It's a little bit past
It's
Tim.
a little bit
Past
past
Tim.
Tim. I like that. So here halfway through the show, we have this wonderful segment called Tidbits with Tim, and now is a man, melancholy at best, wisdom aplenty, from the great north, the one, the only, the incomparable, Timmy J. Warren. Tidbits with
From the
Timmy.
great north. From the great north. I love it. Oh, so Tad,
What's up, boss?
why did the football coach go to the bank?
Why?
To get his quarter back.
Bum, bum.
Oh, buddies.
Hey, did you hear that
What?
the new general manager of the Vikings, the guy they just hired? He he banned all current Viking players from eating cereal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because every time they get around a bowl, they choke.
Oh, ta-da, bing. How do you fix a broken pumpkin?
How?
With a pumpkin patch.
How do you prevent the Minnesota Vikings from peeing on your front yard?
How?
You paint a yellow line on it. They ain't going past that shit.
First down. Why do peppers make such good archers?
Why?
Because they harb an arrow. All right, you know what? That was corny.
Gavin's got one.
Gavin, spit it. Get on that mic close.
All right, so there's a guy in the middle of the road, right?
Yep.
And there's a cow in front of him. The driver says to the cow in the middle of the road,
Move
"Move out the way."
out the
All right,
way.
I got another one for you
Yeah,
guys.
it better be a better one. Okay.
Yeah, this one's better. All right. So, what did the eraser say to the student?
What?
Sometimes you rub me the wrong way.
That's a good one.
There you go, Gabby.
All right. So this week, boys and girls, I was going to talk about utilizing the connections that we've made, and I'm not going to know. That statement alone, take it, run with it, own it, keep it. Please utilize the connections you've made. We work hard to make those
Tools are
connections.
only good if you use them. If you have a hammer in your belt and you're punching a nail,
Yeah.
putting a hole in your hand, that you got to.
That's a great analogy. It is. It's perfect.
Here's this hammer. It'll help you with nails, but
And I
instead you're
punch it
punching
with my hand. Yeah. First thing is every attack appropriately handled becomes a weapon. Meaning any problem that you make it through, you make it through that problem, you get to use the experience and you grow with that experience. Use the tools you've earned. Use the experience to future issues, situations. Tonight, what I want to talk about is comparison. It's kind of a stretch how I'm going to word this, but I think it's pretty cut and dry too. With social media, with Instagram, TikTok, Facebook videos, we're watching all these people, whether famous, whether a big following, but what you're watching are highlights. You can't, and not you. I get caught up in these you statements. I'm talking me. I found myself doing this. I watch these 15 to 30 second highlight reels of people's life. That's what they are. You're catching 15 seconds of someone's greatest moments. And one after another, you're watching, you're flipping through, you're seeing these guys in Bali, you're seeing this guy cliff diving, you're seeing him showing all this cash, you're seeing whatever you're seeing. Me, I gotta stop comparing myself. I've gotta stop with the comparisons because you're watching a highlight reel. You're only seeing that 15 to 30 seconds of their greatest moments. So to compare, when I start comparing myself to someone's greatest moments, I'm going to fail. It's like putting expectations on something. For me, expectations are the first step to a resentment, in my mind, for what's happened.
Yeah.
So what I wrote is comparison is the killer to all joy. When you're watching something like YouTube or TikTok or social media, Facebook highlight reels, that's exactly what you're watching. It's their highlight reels. That's not how their every minute, day to day, or week is. You're only catching a snippet, so don't compare yourself to their highlight reels. Make your own highlight reels. Go out, make your own journey, have your own experience. You can. I shared about it before that. Everything you get through, you make it through. You're still here today, and you can learn through those experiences. We grow through experiences. Just try to find what worked for you and have your own experience. Now, enough with the serious bullshit. What has ears but cannot hear?
What?
A cornfield. I got my audience, JJ.
Shit.
I got yeah. Stop looking for the perfect match. Use a lighter.
Should I tell the IDS joke?
Yes, do it. I don't care. But now, are you going to be able to put the emphasis on it as like you did in person? Tad's a
What?
good joke teller. Do it.
But a lot of my comedy is physical. So
Yes,
it's
that's what I
different.
mean.
So, hey, man, if you guys know the IDS building, there used to be a restaurant and a bar up there. So just imagine, this is 100 some floors up. And at this bar, there's a very beautiful woman. And she's one of the most beautiful women you've ever seen, but she's trashed.
Just drunk.
White girl wasted. Like, she needs to be in a meeting with us. But she's not. She's up there drinking. And off the elevator comes a man, trench coat, Dick Tracy style, with the bowler hat, you know. Can't see who he is. And he pulls a bottle of alcohol out of his jacket, and he smashes it. Top right off on the bar and says, "Woo!" Schlitz malt liquor. Slams it. Slams a whole bottle, bangs it on the ground, and he jumps out the side of the building, right? And they're 100 stories up about. He comes in the other side and says, "That shit's rocket fuel." The drunk lady looks at him, and she's like, "I want some of that." And guy pulls another one out. The lady grabs it. She breaks the bottle off, cuts her hand. It's horrible. She says, "Ooh, Schlitz malt liquor," dumps half of it on her. She jumps out the building, falls, splat to her death. 100 stories down. Boom, she's dead. The bartender just says, "Superman, you're a freaking asshole when you're drunk."
Yeah! That's the best ending of Tidbits with Timmy. And that was Tidbits with Timmy. All right, back to your regularly scheduled program. Good joke, Tad. I love it. Superman, you're an asshole. I love it. All right.
What a douchey.
I love it, dude. That was awesome. Yeah.
And you guys wondered the real life reason I used to identify with Superman. Now you know.
Right now we know.
You know what, too? When you started telling me the joke, I should have known. I was like, dude, where's this punchline going? Rocket fuel. What? Okay.
Once it ended, you were like, "I like that better than the messed up joke."
Yeah.
I do want to say I do want to say this though. Sis, I do love you. I know that you're on here listening, and I just want
Oh,
to let
dude,
you
give
know-
shout outs. You got some shout outs,
shout-outs.
JJ?
Sis, I want to let you know that I love you, and I'm glad that you're part of my recovery, and I'm glad that you got 2 years coming. So I'm proud of you.
Shout outs. Johnny A. Thank you for being on here. Johnny McHugh. Stoner. Teresa. Brian.
Pop, pop.
Megan. Pop. Yeah, Pops. My mom. My
Nana.
pop. Go ahead. Keep them coming.
Mandy,
Leon.
Tanya,
The Quast. Leon
Sean.
Quast.
Leon. Yeah, he showed a little love your ways. JP.
Thomas.
Tommy. You know what? If you
Everyone
have
that we
questions
missed.
for our guest JJ, if you have questions for Tad,
put out
myself,
questions.
Megan,
Or a topic. If
Or
you
a
have
topic,
We
yes.
love a topic.
yeah, we can dive into whatever topic you want. We kind of went through JJ's. I have something on here too. I'm going to bring up. We went through JJ's kind of his last relapse. We talked about his near-death experience, his relationship with his mom, which we're going to get back into. And matter of fact, let's get right back.
Well, you know what? You know, we're not telling JJ's story, but if you are intrigued about JJ's story, and you want to hear his story, I know
Come
a
to
meeting
CMA
called
on Tuesday.
Yeah, CMA on Tuesday. This Tuesday at 7 p.m. JJ's telling his story.
So come on down
2218.
at 2218 in the main auditorium at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
And it's a great meeting. He's going to be up. Now, listen, this is set up awesomely. Like, you ever been to Jitters? It's kind of like that, but there's rows. He's going to be in here entertaining and telling his story.
Oh yeah.
So, real quick, the vision statement here at the Alano Society is that the vision is to be the premier Alano clubhouse serving the greater Twin Cities that offers support, strength to those who suffer from addiction and their families. Also, and not to go into the depth we did at the beginning of the show, but the club could use your help. If you're able to financially help this club, follow the links that young Matthew's going to put up, and
Be a
please
pledging
give.
member.
Be a pledging
Be
member.
a volunteer.
Be a volunteer. You can come down here and get some community
We're
service
trying to
hours
start
knocked
up-
off too.
Yep, we're trying to start up squad council again very soon. That's a
Yes.
vital part. We
Yes.
don't know what's going on without squad council, and it disbanded. So we're trying to start that back up.
Well, let's get
and,
that back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something a couple people have stepped up. At some point, I was going to try and railroad.
Well, and you know
JJ
what?
into
Let me-
that, and that's a separate conversation.
And here's a
privately.
conversation about that type of thing is it's easy to I was the liaison to the squad for NA meeting here at the club. I was the liaison to squad council.
What did that partake? Let's get your.
Well,
perspective.
no, and here I'm not going to be what you're probably hoping to hear is I'm guilty. I'm one of the ones that's guilty of probably part of squad council not being able to succeed. It was guys like me. I overcommitted myself to so many things, and this isn't an excuse. It's the facts of what happened. I overcommitted myself. I took on this squad liaison to the squad, or liaison to the squad, which meant I was to report between my meeting and to the club, which is vital. It's very vital. And I just relied on getting feedback from text or whatever, but I wasn't showing up maybe once every other month. Now it's things like that.
You're
And
best friends with the president of the
yes,
squad council.
it's like
so you just
I was getting the information, but I wasn't there. And all it is it's basically one member from each squad that goes there. But when there's questions about a lease, when there's
that's how the
issues,
tunnel of information
that's
goes.
the tunnel of information. And then now that it's gone, I'm kicking it's a necessity that I
We're
sure hope
gonna
comes
get it
back.
up and back and running, and there have been quite a few people interested in it. So if you're interested in it, you have a squad, contact me. I've had 3 conversations this week. JJ, his ears peaked up, so there's going to be some good people interested in it.
Well, it feels
And you
good to
have the
be part
support
of.
from the board, and I'll be trying to be as helpful as I can from that role. And moving right along back into the show to put the spotlight back on JJ.
I wanted to hear the outcome of you and your mom's.
So
we never
what I
found
was
out.
gonna say is, first I'm gonna say, I thought I was nervous before to tell my story, but now my sister's gonna be here, so now I'm gonna be a little bit more.
That's just
nervous.
more support.
But
More support.
but she hasn't got to hear the whole story, so it's like now I'm kind of like, oh shit.
But here's the thing: that's who you were, not who you are.
Oh yeah. But yeah, no, me and my mom, oh my God, me and my mom have an amazing relationship now.
How did that turn around?
Man, like I got into treatment and I just really focused on myself and I thought about, what I needed over what everybody else needed. And I just kept keeping in contact with her and letting her know, hey mom, it's another day that I get to be clean. It's another day that I don't have to use. And she has been there through everything. And now she's like, every time I call her, she's like, how are you doing? How's sobriety going? It's just the greatest thing in the world is to just know that I can just sit back and be proud of myself that I actually have my family that is there by my side.
Right, you put the work in, and you still put the work in. Now, I have a question for you, and there isn't a really right answer. Do you call your family? I see your sisters on here. Good looking out with the support. Family's so huge. But I know there's people that are listening that aren't in recovery that might not know. When you do talk to your mom, let's say, do you ask, hey, how's it going? And are you interested in the answer?
Oh yeah, I always every time I call my mom, I'm more eager to hear what she has to say over what I have to tell her. Like as soon as I say hello, she's always asking me how are you doing, and I'm immediately like, well, how are you doing? Because
Right.
I want to know how my mom's doing.
Right.
I do get to go see her every once in a great moon, and when I do, that's the first thing she's excited about. Like, I try to surprise her and like be like, oh well, I don't know if I'm coming, and some way somehow like she already knows that I'm coming.
Right.
But she's still surprised to see me. She's still happy to see that I'm around, and like this last time I went up there, like we spent a lot of time together, and it was one of the best weekends that I've ever had. I can't explain. I really can't explain in words how much I really appreciate that woman.
So to be there and be present
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're with family is versus before. I can speak for myself and for people I see currently in active use or without any recovery in their life. It was really easy to be selfish and not even know it at the time.
Oh yeah, or like
I didn't know it until I got recovery, how selfish I always was. I'd say how you're doing, but I didn't care what the
Oh,
answer
yeah.
was.
No, or to go to like a holiday and be
Right.
able to function like a normal human. Like I was in active use and I went to Thanksgiving, with my cousin, and I thought it was okay. You know what I mean? Like they didn't give a flying fuck about it, but at the same time, like I didn't care about their feelings. I
Right.
was more about what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst part is like we finished dinner and I was already ready to go get high again.
Right.
And now I can go there and I can go to my mom's house and I can have a full dinner and I can
Have a
sit-
cup of coffee after, hang out,
play
whatever.
Some,
Yeah.
play some cards, do things that we do like we're big on Skippo and playing Milborn and dice and just hanging out and really focusing on the positives of everything.
See, and that's huge. I like to, like I said, I know for a fact I see 4 people on here who aren't in active recovery. They're what we call normies. They just, their life didn't revolve around drugs, like let's say ours did.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Well, and like my sister said, you know what I mean? Like we have a very strong mother. She didn't raise no little punks, that's for sure. And you know, and like she said, you know, she said JJ has been a huge inspiration to this family. Well, yeah, that's true. But at the same time, like I sometimes don't feel that way. I
Right.
sometimes feel like, oh, I'm a burden to my family.
well, our
Right.
heads do
So,
that sometimes.
My thing, and JJ knows this, and I've said it on the show before, is I don't always fucking wake up singing "Heal the
Kumbaya.
World," "Heal the World," "Heal the World" by Michael Jackson. That's where
Right.
where I would love to be.
Oh yeah.
Heal the world, make
Zippity.
it a better. Like I would love to be there, but
We're not
some
there.
days I wake up, break stuff.
Dad, every morning I
where I'm
wake
at.
up. It
Oh,
takes
yeah.
me an hour before I
And,
want to say.
and I'm not that. I have days where I walk out of bed and I'm like, heal the way. It happens, but not
Oh, yeah.
every day. Not every day.
Oh, there's
Sometimes
days-
I have to get there or I can't.
Yeah, there's even days where I'm like, I'll be laying there and I'm like, oh, I don't want to get up. Let me go back to sleep.
Right.
But then there's days where like I'll wake up and I'm like, okay, let's get the day started. Where's the coffee? Let me get an energy drink. Where's the Mountain Dew at? I'm hungry. Like I try to do all these things at once. And then there's days where like there's days that I could make the world a better place, and then there's days where I'm like shut the world down, like it's over. Like Texas when they get snow.
Yeah.
You know, they shut the
Oh, yeah.
You know, they shut down the whole fucking state. That's how I feel some mornings. It's like, let's just shut the state down. We don't got to do nothing. But, you know, it's different now. And what I'm really proud of is I graduated treatment today. And
We celebrate recovery.
and not only did I do that, I just got the house manager position.
Good job.
And so-
Good job.
And so, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's a new journey, but at the same time, like, now there's adulting time. So now I gotta take care of being a house manager. So there's 11 other guys. On top of that, I'm looking for this job. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing all the things that I need to do to keep myself together, but I'm still at that point where I'm like, can I still be a kid for 5 minutes? Like, I don't want to be an adult.
Yeah.
But, and it sucks because not everybody understands that, because you know they're not like, that's just like 99.9% of the time you're in recovery, you're thinking about recovery things, and then there's times where like bam, you want to go use, or you're thinking about this, or somebody you know goes and relapses or this, and when I hear about somebody relapsing, then I get in my head and I'm like, well, why wasn't I there? What shoulda, coulda, woulda?
You
And
take that burden on.
yeah, like what could I have done to make that not happen? And now I'm remembering that, you know, there ain't shit I can do. I just have to be there for them when they come back.
Oh, your sister, she's a shit. You can be a kid when you come to your sister's house because you still my baby.
Of course. Of course. I go there and I bitch, complain, whine. I act like a little kid.
But you know what? Brian hit it on the head earlier. He said JJ's doing the work. And remember, you come first. Like,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
we do have to take, you know, Elena, when she's here, she has a little segment called personal care or self-care with Elena. But it's true. Like, it's easy to forget about stuff like that. Like, we do need to take time for ourselves. We are people in recovery. I can speak for myself, but what I've seen too is we get so caught up in just setting down the bottle or putting away the needle or not picking up. There's still so many facets of regular life. For other people, it's just regular.
Oh, yeah.
For us, so we have to have a segment about, hey, take some time for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that might come normal to other people, but we've gotten so out of touch for so long, we forget to do just those basic things sometimes. Like, just take 5 minutes.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
chill out. And Tad, you got a good support system. Like, you're about to take on a journey. I'm pointing a knife at him. Oh my gosh. You're about to take a journey in your life. Like, Tad's been there. So you got a connection with someone who's been a manager
Oh,
of a
yeah.
house. Like, you've got that connection where you get to utilize it and be like, dude, these guys aren't listening. What, you know? And that's the
If
type
you
of
don't
stuff.
know, I'm going to answer your call any time of day. So, and if I don't, I'll get back to you.
Well,
soon-
and I'm sure you
soon
know,
as
but
I
he was
can.
just sharing about he's about to be the house manager.
Oh, I know. He shared today.
There you go.
I'm excited for him. And I can't wait to get that first phone call when he's
Oh
like,
yeah, you're good. Oh
It's
yeah.
melting down.
this mother. I can't
Oh
wait
yeah,
to-
trust me, it's coming.
What do? I get them from my buddies and my guys. Like, I don't know what to say. I've raised a lot of house managers out of my house when I was a sober house manager. I've had about 8 to 12 guys that are currently house managers that I trained, and that's one of the things I do for New Spirit. Which, by the way, if you're a man and you need sober housing or know someone, newspirithousing.com. That's where you get it. You can put Tad referred you, or you can call me and I can get you in touch. And if you're a woman, I know women and I can find some great
Right.
places.
This is networking.
JJ knows some
Oh, I
places
know
that
somebody.
are.
My house has an open position right now, so it's a bright spot. It's a good. It works with New Way, so you can get your rent paid. All you gotta do is just get a hold of me, and I can get you in. Especially now that I'm the manager,
Wow.
makes it a little bit easier.
Basically, what we're getting at is like reach out. We've all put our numbers up there. If you know someone or yourself, you're looking for some sober living, or you know someone who is, New Spirit's a great option. Other,
Spot's
you know,
good.
yes, there's tons. There's
And we know ladies that live
Yes,
in sober houses for
tons,
women. So
tons.
like we can find, like me and Tim always say, if we don't have the answers, we know someone that has the answers. We'll find them with you.
You know, and I was gonna bring this up. You know, sometimes it is hard. I'm going back on self-care. You know, sometimes it is hard to keep, your self-care up, and you're always putting other people first. Trust me, I 110% used to do that all the time. Sometimes it's okay to say no.
yes,
It's okay to be like,
Oh.
look, I don't have time to help you.
yeah. Your sister and Megan both share. Is that what you're
Both said it.
responding to?
That's what I'm
Yeah.
responding to. You know,
Cool.
it's not that hard to say no. I understand.
It is kind of tricky sometimes to
if
say
you-
no.
Here's
I,
the thing: if you, honest to God, 100% deep down in your heart, know that you can't do something, say no.
Right.
Well, sometimes you also have to set personal boundaries. Like,
Ooh,
let's
thank
say
Boundaries, that's
you're a
tough, boys.
sober
Come on.
house manager, and it's 11:30 or 1 in the morning, and you're winding down for bed, and it's not an emergency. You want to come, and someone knocks on your door, and it's like, Tad, someone didn't do their chore. Tad, someone peed on the seat. It is okay to say, hey, Mister, you're wearing a Carhartt hat.
Right.
We don't have this conversation now unless it's an emergency. I love you. Do you need to talk?
Right.
One of our guys behind the desk used to be one of my sober house kids, and I had to have that conversation with him several times, and it wasn't. He's laughing because it was.
But
Like,
you know
hey
what?
man,
There's
I
growth
love
in
you,
that,
bro.
and yeah.
I love you, bro. Is this an emergency? Right
Yeah.
now, it's 10. If it's an emergency, I'm gonna sit down.
Yeah, and it's not
Do you need
personal.
to talk right now? Because otherwise, 24/7, I'd just be doing. You'll figure it out.
Oh yeah. No, and that's the thing too, is like I'm worried. That's what I'm worried about. Is like them coming to me for little tiny things. Like,
Oh, they
we
will.
don't have no shower curtain rods, or we don't have this. Well, they only are $1 at the dollar store, so go buy one. Like, we don't have to call the house owner and tell him he needs to buy this. Like, we're at that point right now. Like, our shower rings broke, and so we need new shower rings so we can take a shower. And like, I've been hounding my house owner, like, oh, we need these. He's like, you can go to Walmart or go to the dollar store and get them for $1. And I'm like, oh shit, like, okay, cool. So just the small thing.
Receipts, JJ. They're
Right,
Real,
and-
they're
and
real,
you
and,
can
and
do 'em
most of the
yourself.
time they will pay you back.
Oh yeah, my house owner already said that if need to be, he will definitely pay anybody back for anything they have to get. Now, it sucks though, because sometimes you might not have the money for it, and he said that to me. Like, sometimes you're gonna have to go to the guys and ask them for some money so that they can go get the little necessary needs that you guys need. And that's where I'm like, ooh, like I still struggle with asking for help, but that's the best part about being a house manager, is that's gonna get me out of my comfort zone.
Right.
Right.
And I want to say to who was it? I can't even remember. Who it was.
Deanna?
No, to Brian. We're glad that you wanted to listen, and this is something you needed tonight.
Yeah, this is, you know what, and
glad.
anyone else who's listening, like, share this with people. I see that, your sister shared this with some people, and now they're listening, like, we share all this, and we have past shows too. You can go to 2218 Attitude for Gratitude live stream. Go to the video section. That's all our past shows. There's 60 up there.
You can even go onto YouTube and find
Yeah,
it.
we do have YouTube. Yes, that's right. And we have some
That's
StreamYard
something
stuff.
This year
That's gonna be
we're
growing
be
a lot.
expanding and getting into other platforms. We have if you didn't hear, Gavin's on the show and he's behind the scenes right now studying and doing stuff. He's going to be coming in to deal with social media stuff.
Yes.
And he's going to be working on getting us on those other platforms. Him and Matt they're going to be working closely together. So we have a 2-person technical team right here. We've
That's
never
our
had
social media squad.
our social media
Well,
squad right in the building.
it's good
Shout
that,
out.
It's good that you brought that up because I had brought up to my roommate about listening to the podcast, and he actually said, "Oh, well, are they on Spotify?"
We're on
So-
StreamYard, and we just haven't even locked it down. We paid for a subscription.
Well, and we're gonna have to pay ourselves, but I have someone who said that they'd pay half.
Yeah.
So that's $50 more, and we'll be on when we're ready.
Well, and,
that's
you know,
something
and just
you know,
think we
the
could be anywhere.
Yeah, and that's something the social media team will deem when we're ready. When Tim and I will feel we're ready, but the social media team,
That's team
looking at
effort.
them, their first night on the job. If we told them we're ready tomorrow, you guys are gonna go. We don't have a Facebook bill. We don't have. They're gonna
Yeah,
be like,
all the
"Cash,
stuff that
quick
us
cash and
elder
check."
statesmen.
I mean, you guys would get it done next week if I said that.
There you go.
don't do
I
that
think
no more,
Gavin got
Gavin.
you. know what? Gavin got your ear. You know what? I think he got you. We got this.
But so and we're working on our second phase here, and I think JJ is going to be a part of that, whether it's being a guest on shows or with ideas, because JJ is constantly hitting me up with ideas, and I don't know. It's just we're all a family here at the Attitude for Gratitude, and I don't know. It's cool.
We appreciate the offers and with the money things. Tad was just kind of explaining where we're at with it. It's not even serious. Anyone offering like that, we do appreciate it. We haven't pulled the trigger on it because we're not ready for it. It's not a financial situation right now that we're not able to afford it. We just haven't pulled the trigger, but we really appreciate
we got new
offers.
equipment and everything.
Yeah.
We just haven't moved.
Yeah, we
on.
haven't. We're building right now.
First
And
step
taking
is
you guys on the road with us.
Yeah,
You know,
first,
and-
first step is getting the team,
Yeah.
getting people, and the team's ready
The
now. So now
logistics,
it's
yeah.
doing stuff.
We're built.
You
Yeah.
know, I totally understand where my sister's coming from.
Yeah. No,
right?
that's huge.
We appreciate
you
it.
know, she's she's not only taking care of herself.
Mama.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm super happy. She's got her own place. Like she's got to pay bills. She's got
yeah.
all that shit. But on top of that, like she gives me money and she pays she's paying my rent. And sometimes it's hard for her. And I get that, and I'm greatly appreciated. And one day I'm gonna get it back to her. But when I think about, oh my God, I owe this person money, I start getting into that spiral.
Me too. You're not alone, brother.
Yeah.
You are not alone. I'm a
hate owing
40-year-old
people
man
money.
who I can't be self-sufficient yet.
Oh yeah.
And I'm talking about making 6 figures a year, dude. Like that comes from so many years of irresponsible spending, these traits that I've just put myself. This shows you're the guest. We're not going to talk about me. Stop. But no,
We all
it's
go
hard.
there, brother.
It's hard. Like that's part of this. I sometimes do get, even with my years I have don't equal recovery. Like it doesn't matter the time I have. I'm still over here half the time embarrassed to talk about. I don't know how to figure out all my bills yet. I still struggle with that stuff. Like me and Tad were just talking about this less than a month ago, figuring out like I'm not even sure if I'm a good friend. I don't know if I'm being a good friend. I still question myself. I don't know. Like a relationship, am I a good
I
man
felt
to a
so
woman?
bad. He was apologizing to me, and I had to shut him down because
It's
I
like-
had to get to work.
Well, I just don't. I mean, these are the things. Yes, I get in my head about. I question. It's like, but it's okay. It's
yeah.
okay
Remember
to
that
question
time-
as
remember that-
long as you're even questioning
Tim,
yourself. You
remember
know.
that time you killed me?
Yeah. Well, you had it coming.
I don't know. We had to talk about stuff on the show one night, and rabbit holes. He's talked about it a couple times. So if you know me, I was a late night guy. Still can be. We got home
I
at
know where you're
1.
going.
I stayed up till 4 or 5 in the morning did some paperwork, played some Madden, went to bed. It's a Saturday. I'm sleeping till 2 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon on a Saturday. He calls me at 10. He calls my sister, who has my sister call my mom. Finally, my sister was like, it's my brother. He's probably sleeping. But my mom, I get messages from my mom and my sister, and Tim was in his head like I fired him from the show. I had gone back out and like he went
Or
down.
he's dead. Like, and I get that from my mom. Like, no, my head ran with
I
it.
wake up and Tara's like, I hit Tara first, and she's like, yeah, you should probably call Tim. Like I already explained to him, but she's like, Tim should be the first one you call. Like, Mom and I are fine. I'm at Mom's right now. Tad's okay. He was sleeping. Makes sense, yeah. So I had to call Tim, and we had to have a talk, and it's.
I let
We
my
do that
head
to
run
ourselves.
wild. Yeah, I let my head. I didn't hear from him. So either, all right, the show fell apart. He relapsed. He OD'd. Or he got in a car accident. Or someone robbed the house and murdered him. Or, I mean, no, I mean, seriously, my head does this.
It does that. It does.
It still does it. Dude, I leave my girl's house and I'm like, I make sure to watch her door close behind her because, someone's going to rob her. Someone's going to break in. She's just a poor little girl. And da-da-da and da-da-da. My head runs wild. I want to blame it on my mom. I can't. I let myself do that shit.
Well, even if we learn those habits, we're still enabling those habits.
Yes,
Even if they were learned from other people.
Dude,
we have the power.
I didn't learn
change
how to shoot
ourselves.
dope from my mom, and I
Right,
didn't.
right,
You know what I'm saying?
We're
Like,
in a 12-step program fixing.
I don't
our
get to
life,
blame
and
her
we
for
have-
that. I mean,
We have the power to change ourselves.
it's an archaic comparison, but so quick. All right, yeah, gear shifting. JJ, question.
Answer.
I don't know if you still do, and I'm not gonna make assumptions or judge. But there was a time I used to turn on Facebook and there'd be a live feed of you, sometimes with a shirt, sometimes without a shirt, just going. Now, I think I talked to you at the time, and this is well before your previous
Started
relapse.
off as a good idea.
Yes. But talk to us about that.
So
What was that about? Where'd it go? How did it end? Is it still going? What was the intentions? Everything.
Like
Let's hear.
Sunday check-ins or something.
Oh yeah, so I did a Sunday. It was called Sunday Recovery Live. Some days there was a shirt, some days there were. I
The
Yeah.
onesies. You had a onesie?
oh
One
and my
time, yes.
onesie night. I had a onesie night. I still have that onesie, by the way. And no, so I was doing that for a while, and then I just got too busy with, it was the summer, so I was like, well, volleyball and hanging out with people, and so I just didn't do it anymore. And then I stopped, and now like, it's weird, like it's been on my mind going back to it, but at the same time, I'm like, how do I want to do this? Like, do I want to do it with a shirt on? Do I want to do it with a shirt off? Do I want to be in my room? Do I want to be out and about?
So the intentions were recovery based.
Oh, it's all recovery based.
Okay. Now the Hugs Not Drugs. That's a Facebook group that you were. I'm just highlighting what you already talked about a little bit, but that is it's a platform for what? The Hugs Not Drugs.
So Hugs Not Drugs is based upon just getting people together and like committing to like friendships and posting things that are positive, meetings, whatever was on your mind, you could post in there and somebody could get back to you. Originally, it was just like Hugs Not Drugs, like go wild, like do whatever the fuck you want, this, that, and another. And now, like, it changed. Like, now it's all recovery based. Like, I've got, matter of fact, I'll shout it out. JP, he posts inspirational stuff on there all the time. Or there's people that are putting meetings on there. And that's what I wanted Hugs Not Drugs to be, over everybody's drama and like this, that, and another. The last time I really checked it, there's so much positive on there. Like sometimes I get a little overwhelmed because I'm like, wow, like this is doing way better than I thought it would. So
Right.
now it's like I'm trying to do that, and then I want to get my recovery lives. And on top of that, a friend of mine has come up to me, and we're actually talking about doing a recovery podcast. So it's going to be rough, but
Well, good thing you know a few people who do recovery
Oh.
podcasts that could help you with that.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
There's,
I mean, like we don't have we don't have no equipment, we don't have any of that, but like we're doing it
Too
through our
bad you're not
phones.
friends with people that
I
are
don't
trying
know
to start a
anybody at all.
podcasting network with multiple recovery shows on it. 'Cause
Yeah.
that would probably be perfect for your
I
platform.
know, I don't know anybody at all.
I mean, we could talk business afterwards, but and that's what I alluded to. I want JJ to be a part of
100%.
our family here because
You've got a lot to share and a
Living
lot to
recovery
give.
with
he's got a
JJ.
big. if that's what you want it to be. I was thinking recovery in onesies with JJ, but you know.
Oh, that's a good show.
See, let's go buy
Dad,
one.
trademark the name.
JJ and Tom.
Recovery in
we
one.
have- I got some thongs
recovery in
too, so,
onesies.
I mean, we can
right
figure
now.
it
Go
out.
trademark it on there.
Recovery in onesies.
Recovery in
But dude,
one.
eventually we would have to do that because you know, like some of the other shows, they have you. If you hear Joe Rogan or whatever, they're trademarking the stuff they say live.
Everything.
Oh,
That's where I was
they're-
telling you on his
told me
show.
that, yeah.
On his show. I'm not going to repeat the dirtiness of it, but like
that's a great
he's got a guy right there. He'll look at him and say, "Mark it." They'll hop online and get all 4 sites, all 4, .com, .edu, .cos, .efl, everything, and they'll own it.
.com,
They'll,
//
they'll own it all.
Your
They'll,
sister said recovery, shirt or no shirt. The options are endless, bro.
But see, that's the thing. Like, I don't want my sister to see me. Well, she's seen me.
I'm sure our
She's wiping
family-
my ass. So I mean, but
I
like,
mean-
I'm trying to change a little bit here.
That's why recovery with onesies, because you can.
Well,
zip it a
I mean,
little
as
bit.
long as you know what, at the end of the day, we just make, your intentions, your motives, you check them. You check what they are. I know that's what, every night before the show, it's like, I do a little quick check off in my head about, motives, my intentions. Like,
Oh, yeah.
and as long as they're pure and true to yourself, there's nothing, I can't sit and worry about what G.I. Joe's going to think. It's just how I have
What
to do
about
it.
Combat Carl.
He taught me that knowing the problem is half the battle.
What about Scuba Steve?
He's the shit. So we got a couple more minutes here. I think, JJ, what's on your heart? Talk to us.
Whew. So I don't know if she's listening, but I love her. It's hard when you find out that somebody relapses.
Okay.
And I love her dearly. And I told her, I'm here for you. But, she said something and,
That coffee in that Mountain Dew are kicking
I
your
know,
ass.
Man, that coffee's kicking
He's starting to speak from the heart too.
And I love it.
It's hard because it's like I'm not gonna lie, she's one of my best friends, and what bothers me is like the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. You know what I mean? Like I want to be there for her, and I want to help her out, and I want to do this, but I know that there's nothing I can do, and now my mind, is just racing on it because I just feel bad because I can't be there for her, like I can't be there for her.
Physically you can't, but you're being there for her right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it sucks because it's like I want to go up to her and I want to give her a hug and I want to tell her everything's going to be okay and I want to be able to, hear what she has to say. But at the same time, like I know that she wants to isolate and I know that she needs time for herself.
And you know what that's like.
And I've been there. You know what I mean? And so I try not to. I'm not judging because how
We've
can I
been there.
judge? You know what I mean? How can I judge? 6 months I was where she's at. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me to keep my mind out of that bad place at the moment. Like,
So does your head, I know this is weighing heavy on you. What is your head telling you? Like that you're not questioning your own recovery.
oh no,
I'm not hearing what I'm hearing. Like, you're not taking any responsibility for this person's choices, are you?
no.
It just hurts.
It just hurts really bad, and my head is like, well, why weren't you there for her? Like, you should have been there.
So there's some guilt there.
So there's guilt coming up.
Why do you think? I'm not to really dissect
So
it
I
too
can't
hard, but
do that for myself. And what I would do in this situation,
yeah.
couple things, because I've been in this situation, is where can I be there for the next newcomer?
Oh, yeah.
If I totally think that I'll go down this rabbit hole. Let's say I really did. Now I know what I know about recovery. I can't put myself in that situation.
Yeah, that's just like my.
And
sister
if I
said.
have to go rescue them, I'm going with 2 or 3 addicts at least.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But-
no, his sister said exactly what
yeah.
else to do, but keep going, Ted.
Just relax and pray.
So pray about it, and now I get to choose to be part of the solution. Maybe not for this person because I'm praying for them, for the next person that walks through those doors at CMA or
yeah.
wherever you are. And now you get to, now you learn. And we're going to lose some, unfortunately. And, you know, this became pertinent to me because you've been where she's at.
Oh, yeah.
And we can be mad. We can beat ourselves up. I called my dad once about 6 months into managing sober houses. And my dad and I aren't super close. We've since made up. Our relationship was estranged, but I called him and I started complaining. I unloaded on dad. And my dad's been a manager, successful businessman. I started complaining about these guys. They just got out of prison and about this and their behaviors and them being on the streets and the problems with the guys coming from the streets. And you know what my dad said to me? And I never expected it. He said, good thing you're in the spot you are because you can relate to them and you can have compassion where someone like me wouldn't. You can have empathy and you're in a great spot to fight for them and relate to them and know how it feels. You're not one of these stuffy suits.
Yeah.
And I was like, son of a bitch.
And that guy's not in recovery. It's just
No, and I was like, wow, dude. My dad just like checked me, dropped the mic, and like I never expected.
But it was some of the most helpful information someone gave you in that time of need.
To this day, I
yeah.
have to.
You
That's
quoted
why I
that.
bring it up.
This is the third time you quoted that.
Sometimes I have to quote this daily.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna no before you read that, JJ. I need to tell you now what I'm gonna tell you. Your sister's right. Like this thing, and it's not just your fan. I know she might feel like it's she's saying it's a family curse.
Oh,
A lot of us seem to do that. Take on others' pain. This is where I think Al-Anon is huge for a lot of people.
it's easier.
It's way easier.
I can take your pain on a lot more than facing mine head on.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just like someone else's kid too. I get to leave at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So a couple things is, I'm gonna say you can't blame yourself, but we're gonna do it. We always do.
Oh, yeah.
You can't blame yourself. Secondly, you could have been there for anyone. That you can't. Yesterday's gone. We know that. Our heads want to tell us, oh, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. You just mentioned that shoulda, coulda, woulda. But here's the thing. This goes true for anyone, and I'll stand strong on it, not just say me. You can't make someone want to recover. You can't. There's not a magic word you're gonna say to get someone's head to say, okay, yeah, I'm ready to recover. We all had to come to that conclusion on our own.
Oh, yeah.
I think about my journey. My grandparents had Christian people, all people from the church. My stepmom worked for the county. They had the best psychologists, the best caseworkers.
To trick you into wanting it or whatever.
I had all these people
Right.
that came in and like tried to help me, and none of that until I wanted it. And nothing till I wanted it. I had, I was gonna do what I was gonna do.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? She's right too. What she just wrote.
I know.
You're doing it now. It's like when people say I don't have much to offer. You sitting right there being quiet this whole show offers more than you can imagine. JJ might not have opened up the way he would have.
Oh, no.
Anyone showing up to a meeting, sitting in a chair, that's service work. People don't see it that way a lot of times. That other person coming in from a relapse saying I just relapsed, worrying that everyone's going to start judging them, you may have saved that next person's life.
Oh, yeah.
Like being here, being present is doing something.
Brian,
Don't cut yourself short ever. Don't. All you can do is be there for someone when they're ready.
Yep. And
That's 100.
your
That
sister
statement
said-
is so perfect,
Your
spot on.
sister just said, "Can I ask how does JJ feel tonight, being right here, right now, and drug-free after having a relapse part of his journey?"
Good question. Speak on it. That's
Holy
about
shit.
wrap up questions.
So, right now, I feel great. I feel amazing. And being able to be sitting here, drug-free, has changed a lot for me. Just looking back at like how my life was before, now my life has changed so immensely different. Like I have best friends, I have people I can get in touch with, I have people I can go bowling with, I have people to go out and do things. Where when I was using, I was isolating. So I'm grateful that I have that. And it's even greater to have family that's a part of your life. Especially somebody that's been there, done that as well with you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna lie, me and my sister have used together, and I wouldn't trade that for anything because it brought us closer.
It's who you are today. Your history makes you who you are today.
Well, yeah, and it makes me happy because of the fact that we're able to have that experience together, and now we can go back and go, remember that time that we went and did this, this, and this,
Yeah.
and laugh about
not a
it and
negative.
know that we were fucked up at the time.
Yeah. It's not a negative. It's not. Yeah. It's a positive. I always say it. Yesterday doesn't. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, we don't live in yesterday.
You can't live in the past.
You can learn
You
from
can't live in the
yesterday.
future, but you can live in the
Yeah, you can learn from what happened yesterday and beyond. It makes us who we are. Like there's a reason they taught us history in class so we don't repeat the mistakes.
Well, and I'll say this too. So we feel great today. We're feeling good today. You know what? Tomorrow you might feel like shit.
What worked today?
Oh, yeah.
It's okay to feel like shit. It's okay. Just like we were talking
That
about.
was your
where I
that was the ending quotes with Tad last week.
It's
And I take
okay
that to
be-
heart.
It's okay to not be okay.
100.
Admit that. There's healing in that.
Mm-hmm.
Part of our problems as drug addicts is saying, no, I'm okay. Put some dope on it. Put a girl on it.
Yes.
Put a guy on it.
Yes.
Put something on it. As
Yeah.
our old, as my,
Or I'm gonna
Robbie
get
used to
drunk at you.
I'm gonna put something
Yeah.
on it, and my other sponsor Jason would say anything I do to get myself out of me. That's putting something on it.
Right.
And so now we get to sit here and bravely say I'm not okay or I am okay.
Yeah.
And you know what? Eventually you will be okay because people are here, people care, we care.
These
We love you.
connections.
And if I haven't even met you yet, I love you.
Yeah. Hey. Light heart. It's like so motives and it's you come into it with a pure heart. We learn how to. Like I was alluding to it earlier, is early recovery was tough for me to know the next right thing. Early recovery was hard to find the winners.
Oh, yeah.
I think your sister even said something back earlier in the show about it. Like, hey, sis, you might as well just come in and be part of the show and break out some good knowledge for us because you're doing it already. But I do feel that you being here is helping whomever you're speaking about that's struggling, whether she's listening now or eventually will. Like, no one's being put in the spotlight.
No.
It's about care. Like, you care for someone, but you can't take on their burden.
Right.
So I just want to say Megan has something to say.
What's up?
I just wanted to say really quick about JJ. He has been an inspiration to me in my recovery. Every morning I wake up to a Snapchat from him saying good morning, and it's just like that positive thing right in the morning that I see. It's awesome for me because I'm a very negative person. But JJ, in the 2 short months, has become one of my best friends, someone I talk to regularly about things I'm going through. And I just thank JJ for
Are you
that.
in recovery?
I am.
So,
4.5 months sober.
how long?
4.5.
4.5.
My first 6 months, this man used to send me a text every morning, no matter what.
That means a lot.
And at one point, he was the only person that texted me.
That
every
means
day.
a lot to
And,
people.
You know, I forgot about that till she just said this, that.
Same. He's the only person that texts me every single day.
And that there were times during those first 6 months that got me out of bed. I didn't always respond. Sometimes I'd be like, oh, fucking JJ. But there were times where I was like, oh, JJ cares.
Like, we don't get to stand on a you know, you don't get to stand what is on your laurels, but you know what? Like, you do these things that affect. What's up?
What'd you say?
I was gonna say something because that brings up.
Speak on it. Come on. Come here. Come on, Gavin. Get over here.
I was gonna say, that brings up a good point. Especially when we're in active addiction. Like we ain't. We push a lot of people away, and we push a lot of the loved ones that care about us away. And when we're in active addiction, we feel alone. But then when we get sober, it's like, okay, like who's really there for me? Like how do I find that person or those people? Who give a shit about me? But then there's actually that one person, who checks up on us, and we're like, I don't know how to let that in. I don't know how to like accept that love or that care or that support from someone, but then after a while, it actually means a lot to us, and I think for myself personally, after being sober for, a period amount of time in recovery, like I found people who actually care about me, the people who actually reach out to me after deleting, a majority of my social media, I've found
Well, and
in my recovery.
you know who they are in different ways.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a lot of
I've always been a little harder on you.
Yeah.
I have. I really have. And one of the things, one of the things I'm gonna say is like, so we reach out to people, and it doesn't always happen. Gavin and I had a conversation, and he reached out to someone who I went to a sober house to live. I'm not gonna say his name or anything because I can't. And Gavin's talking to him. I leave, go do some business, come back to talk to this individual, and he went back home to his girlfriend to go back to the life he was using. And me and Gavin can have plans on how we're gonna help this guy and save him. And Gavin's gonna be supportive, and I'm gonna be involved with the recovery, and we're gonna get him involved in the podcast. Me and Gavin had great plans. That's not how.
That was your guys' plans,
Yeah,
though.
yeah, that's not how. I didn't even get to have a chance to talk with him. Gavin got to talk with him, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm going back."
Yeah, and especially, being, with that, like, when as everyone in here, we're all people in recovery, and when we get sober, it's like when we've been sober for so long, we have these people who we used to get high with. We have these people, who we used to surround ourselves around who reach out to us now for help,
Who've
and then
been to treatment.
who've been to
30 times
treatment
as
or,
kids.
stuff, or we've known since we were kids, and in active addiction, or even people who just started doing drugs, and them reaching out to us, that means a lot to us. But then when you burn those bridges and stuff like that, it's hard, because you care about them.
Right.
And people like us in this room, because everyone at this table, and I'm talking Gavin, JJ, and myself, and Tim too. We're all 45th chance guys. And what I mean by that is we got 45 chances
Oh yeah.
to live our life. That's why. And some of us only had to go to treatment once because Google told them, and they listened to Google. God damn it. I didn't listen to Google.
Yeah, and
someone-
I'm also the oldest one here who used the longest and finally said I'm done.
Well, so there you go.
But even with that, though, some of us only have one chance in life,
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And we were talking about that.
We all know someone who got clean once, went back out.
Yeah.
there.
Well, and here you go. Here's that statement: is I know I have another relapse in me. I know I do. I'll bet you guys my life I do. Of course I have a relapse. We all do. No guarantees about that recovery though.
Right.
Then that's a fact.
But that's the thing, though. Then why risk it?
There you go.
If you're actually, if you're actually working a program, why go back out?
Of course.
It's just common sense. Like when I think about it, hell yeah, I got another relapse.
Yeah.
Well, relapses don't always have to be a part of your recovery.
There you go.
I think that
So
too.
the process of change, one of the processes of change, contemplation, pre-contemplation, action, and then eventually it's maintenance. One of the processes of change is relapse, but it doesn't have to be a part.
Exactly.
And that, and that's just talking about behaviors.
No, and I guess I was just kind of being. It's an old saying you'll hear a lot of old timers say, "I know I have a relapse in me," or "I know I have another drunk in me."
But you don't know if you're going to come back from
You
it.
never guaranteed a
No.
recovery.
Like,
No.
and like you guys were talking earlier, like about how people we don't, there's only so much of us who have that chance of coming back in these rooms, and I'm sure a lot of us in the who are here tonight, or even on the podcast, listening, we've had that one person, who have came back, but then they went back out, and that hurts, and it sucks,
Yeah, it hurts. It really hurts. JJ, what were you gonna say? I started cutting you out when I shared it. I was cutting you off. Sorry about that.
So what I was gonna say is that oh shit, what was I gonna say now?
I know we could move in so quick. You know what? Then here, maybe this will jar it. Megan, you were talking about he sends you a Snapchat every day, right?
Yeah.
So now for what, the last month or since you guys got real close, like what would you do if come noon you still haven't gotten that
Oh, I'd
Snapchat?
be worried. I
She'd call.
I would call for
She would
sure.
call.
I'd be like, "You good? Everything okay?"
And that's what that type of stuff does. When you're in the community and you're helping people and you're doing that, even little things.
I asked
We
that.
make coffee
Yeah.
every week at a meeting for a couple months. That's why people say, get in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
If you do something like that, all of a sudden you're not there, people are going to call you.
People are gonna call you, and
Hey,
it does multiple
JJ,
things.
why weren't you making coffee this
Right,
week?
exactly.
Right.
Like, oh man, I had a thing. Oh man, can
I
you
got a
tell us
thing
next
going.
time? Can you tell us next time?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, oh shit.
You're
people
pulling
give a
out.
fuck.
You're pulling out
People care.
insurance on yourself.
Yeah.
By doing, I mean, inadvertently, I know you're probably not like, I'm going to send her this just so I know. Maybe you are. My head's like that. Like, I'm doing this for something in a reaction. But unknown to you, like, you're taking out stock on your recovery, insurance on your life. Like, you're sending her, and plus, it's not only that, like, you're making her day better. Like,
Oh yeah.
what does it do for your day? Like
If
straight up.
I'm a very negative person, so when I see that every morning, I'm like, all right, it's gonna be.
I know
good
we're
day."
all scratching our head.
It's gonna be a good
I
day.
like her reaction. She's like, all right, you know what? JJ's right. I'm having a good
We're
day.
gonna
Right,
motherfucking
right.
do it. No, so what I was gonna say is that when the very first, like, I went to treatment the first time and all that, like, I told people straight out, like, I will never relapse. I'm never gonna relapse. And I will say this, like, don't say that.
It's a strong word.
I mean, you can do whatever you want, but don't say it because sometimes it's a curse, and then you end up going out and doing it. And now that I've done it like a couple of times, now I'm like, I see a newcomer come in and they're like, yeah, this is my first time in recovery and this is my first meeting. And I'm like, please don't go relapse. Like, don't say it. Like, don't say you're not going to relapse because sometimes it's hard to, like we've been talking about, like, I can't change anybody else's mind. But if it happens, like, just remember you're always welcomed and you're always, like, this is home. Like, that's why every time I see a newcomer, I always tell them, welcome home. Like, this is where we make family. And my sister hit it right on the head. She said, I can't wait to come and see all my friends and family down here.
Made me cry one of the first times someone said that to me. Welcome home.
Oh,
At a
I bawled.
meeting.
Right.
Oh, I bawled my eyes out.
Yeah.
Even when I came back, I bawled my eyes out because somebody said that to me. And I was just like, why am I crying right now? Like, what is this about?
It's a weird little thing. Someone once at Saturday Night Live, I was sitting there and this lady, she was getting near the end of her share. It wasn't the most impactful share. It was nothing really special. I think I even was nodding up. And at the end, she's like, so all I ask of you is to buckle up. You're in for a ride. The ride of your life. I don't know what it was, but I lost it. Like, it's the truth. This recovery, this life, this second chance we've been given, like, I've been afforded. We don't even have enough time for me to explain.
I mean, we have
to be there for your mom. To be be there for a family member that you used to dog shit over, use and tread up and not care about them, and you tell yourself you cared about them, but your actions did not support that.
Oh, no.
And to be there for him now, or a sister, or a friend, or getting someone out of bed with a smile on their face, to do that, buckle up.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, buckle up.
And it's like, okay, so this weekend I was supposed to go home. I was supposed to go and see my mom and my sister and the family. And I told them, like, I can't. I have obligations. And, like, yeah, my sister just put it in here. Like, she was upset about it. She was kind of mad. But she said straight out, you've given me inspiration and you gave me reason to stay. So it's weird how, and I still don't get this, like, it's weird how just the small things I do can change somebody's life.
And you never know.
You change your own in return.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's going to go into my final thoughts tonight.
Yeah.
You'll never know the impact you have on someone alongside yourself. Like, we do recover, and I think Brian said it earlier, like, this is for you.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, yeah, sure, the 12th step is to give back. Like, we don't keep this lest we give it away. But in return, our predecessors were genius wizards, or the trial and error of our predecessors, whatever it was. Me giving this back to you, me doing something that makes me feel good. In return, it's you can't pay for it. You can't pay for that message you send her every morning. What it does, like the trickle effect of that, it's unmeasurable. You never know, because then she's happier. Then she reaches out to someone, and that person reached out to someone who just had a noose tied.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you never are going to understand the weight of your decisions when your motives are pure and your intent is good. Rah, rah.
Shish kumbah.
So, I'm going to tell you one last thing, JJ. I'm glad you were able to come on the show tonight, and you didn't go see family. There's always another weekend for that. When we're in recovery, we can always assure, hey, there's going to be another night.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We know there's going to be another day of who you got in front of you. Things work out the way they're supposed to. I do believe that.
Oh, yeah.
For a long time, for a couple years in earlier recovery, I was like, bullshit. Give it over. Just trust in the process, this, that, and the third. I believe, however it worked itself up to you being here tonight was the way it was supposed to go.
Oh, yeah.
You're sitting there tonight because that's how it's supposed to go.
From this show.
Yeah. It's
almost been in tears.
when the motives are pure and the intent is correct, you're speaking from the heart, it turns out the way it's supposed to turn out.
Dude, I love you, JJ, and I'm so fucking proud of you.
love you
And
too.
I am honored and privileged to get to work with you in the service I do, and I look forward to, stuff we're gonna do in the future. So we had a great show. We want to thank our guests, JJ and Megan.
Yes, thank you, JJ and Megan.
JJ, I just want to say, like, I'm really proud of you, man. Like, you've known me since I was 16, man. And so I just want to say I appreciate all the support that you have given me, and I love you like a brother. I love you like an older brother, and I really appreciate everything that you're doing. And I appreciate, and I admire what what you're doing for your life now, and seeing you coming back and accomplishing 6 months sobriety and coming to house manager and graduating treatment, man. I'm really, 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 really fucking proud of you.
Thanks, Gavin.
I love you.
Love you too. I mean, I could care less. We could sit here all night.
Right.
I gotta know.
I know. I get to that point too. At about 1:45, when the show's going good, I'm like, I don't care how late we go.
Well, right.
I remember the one time I wanted to do that. You guys all looked at me like I was crazy.
Oh, hogwash! I was probably.
you were like-
it was probably not a show like I'm feeling now.
No, yeah, you were like, I'm tired, bro.
I'm the one who's always at. Tomorrow I'll be up at 7 a.m. no matter what.
No matter
and
what.
usually it's even earlier. I'm doing
I
cash
don't
work
know
right
when
now.
I don't know when I got to get up. But
Yeah,
we're going
see?
to the winter carnival, so we got to.
Is that free?
Kind of. There's stuff that
There
costs
is,
money.
but I mean, you can. Is
Yeah.
it Ice Castle?
Yeah.
Is it the one in St. Paul?
Yeah, and then we
And when
might
is
go
that?
to Stillwater too because I'm about the mazes. I never went. I did mazes as kids at in Florida and
Is it the
Wisconsin
maze
Dells.
maze?
Yeah, it's Stillwater. We might check that out. But I did my first corn maze this year. And it was amazing. And one corn.
It was
maze,
amazing.
Yeah, and one corn maze now. I'm the best now.
Oh, of
So,
course, yeah.
yeah.
Well, because you're so damn tall, you can see.
No,
Cheater.
It's not like
You
that.
wear your heels and all.
It's not like that. They even had a little playground in the middle that you could get up on to find one of the checkpoints. 'Cause
Yeah.
They had whatever you have to find for whatever checkpoint.
Yeah.
And you still couldn't tell because it all blends. It's not
And,
like
okay.
that.
So
And we
my
didn't
sis-
cheat. Mandy and I made a commitment to not cheat.
Yeah, you better
To
not.
On
cut
each
through the
other?
co- No, to cut through the coordinate. That
Oh.
too. But no,
Yeah,
to
I
cut through
bulldog.
the
I was
coordinate.
when I was in this other relationship. I had a little 3-year-old with me, and she, let's just say, wasn't feeling the corn maze anymore. So Tim just bulldogged his way straight through. They invited me never to come back. I haven't been to a corn maze since. So, what were you saying about your sister,
So my
JJ?
sister just said, she said, "You guys got me crying. LOL. I wish I could hug you, Jay, and I wish I could hug you too, but there's always next."
Yeah, we
weekend."
just share. And let me tell you about your brother real quick, because I'm going to say my goodbyes to him. And Megan, I appreciate you coming on the show. Like I said, everyone has a part to play, and I wish I could have got you to speak up more. You waited till 10 minutes to the end.
But-
Well, that's when I
Bullshit.
finally started getting out of my comfort zone, and so I'm like, shoot,
Oh,
I
we
wish
should
it,
have
I
had you
wish
here
it'd
at
take go
6.
longer too.
Yeah, we should have got you.
Okay, so we're gonna go
And
another
here's
half hour.
and here's the deal. You have an open invite.
There you go.
To be
Tad
on the
doesn't
show
say
if
that
you
to
want-
everyone.
If you have topics that you want to talk about, anything
Maybe.
someday.
Yeah, the two of you, definitely. Tad doesn't say that much about the open
and,
invite.
That's where we're at. Next week we may possibly have Jeff. He hasn't confirmed or denied that he's going to be here. If Jeff's not here, our young Mr. Gavin is going to be the guest.
He's going to be the
Last
guest.
time he was on the show, he was a host.
Yes.
And Gavin's it'll be a great show either way.
Yes.
Gavin's got lots of stuff. He works in the recovery field, so I'm excited either way. We're going
peer specialist.
eventually Gavin's he's a peer recovery specialist. He works for Teen Challenge. He's been in and around recovery dang near his whole life.
Yeah.
So-
with his parents and his life. Yeah.
It's
yeah.
recovery's big for him, whether it's his or his family's. It's been his whole deal. And I got the privilege of being his sober house manager, so and being his friend now.
You call it a privilege? No, I'm joking.
I'm being polite.
So, all right. I'm going to, Megan, thank you again. Serious.
Yeah.
I appreciate the support and you speaking up at the end, and I'm glad we got the open invite approved. And I wanted to say that
Tim, what are you grateful for today?
I was going to say my goodbyes to JJ. I want to really make his sister cry. But today, I'm grateful for my mother. I go into the spiel every week, and I won't keep it too long. But I'm grateful for my mom. I'm grateful for my family. I have a mother who's been there for me no matter what. She's watching life show up on life's terms, and that can be tough sometimes. being there as a friend for people, being there as a parent, being there as a spouse. She is the highlight of my thoughts throughout my day. When I think things are bad, like I can think of some aspect of my mom and it's good. And no matter what, she's got my back. Like we've shared a lot about family, and I know people get sick of me talking about this, but I don't give a damn. My mom is my highlight of my life, and I'm very grateful for her and this recovery family that I've built. I'm so goddamn grateful for my recovery family. So, I'm also here to say, Ted, what are you grateful for?
I was gonna let you do it. I could have jumped in, but we did something interesting. I'm grateful for my relationship with you. That was cool. We've never played paper rock scissors. We always just try and
Seen you
get
try
one
to
over.
cheat at the end?
I know. I seen you try and cheat, but I don't know. Anyways, I'm grateful I got to have fry bread tacos and see my uncle today. I'm grateful that I have a relationship with an amazing woman that is in the solution, and we bounce ideas off each other, and that we're figuring out how to work as a team. And sometimes that means compromising. Sometimes that means, yes, at my sacrifice of not getting to stay up till 5 in the morning and playing video games. It's so damn,
Oh,
I can't,
man.
right? But, grown ass man my age needs to be playing video games all night. No, I don't. So, sometimes it's just learning and it's life. And I'm grateful that I have someone I get to grow with. I'm grateful for this family. I'm grateful for the future. Gabby Goo, what are you grateful for?
Man, I'm grateful for a lot of things. I mean, I guess today, man, I'm grateful for second chances. I'm grateful for, and I don't mean to say this in, a selfish or cliche way, but, I'm really grateful for, being able to get sober young. At 19, it's very uncomfortable being sober right now, but it's something that I try and look forward to every day, is being able to, spread a message of hope, to other people who may be struggling with addiction or mental health, or, just spreading more love and hope into our community, especially with my job that I'm able to do, and going to speak at high schools and middle schools on addiction, and sharing my story to, high schoolers and middle schoolers on my story on addiction, and that's a blessing right there. And so I'm really grateful for that, but I'm also grateful, for the love and support I've always been given throughout my recovery, and, just knowing that I got a lot of hope. We all got hope in this room, we all got a lot of things in life to look forward to, we all got this perspective in life and this persona in life that, like we're brought, we all have a destiny in life of what we can do and what we can accomplish in life, that's something I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for my destiny. I'm grateful for, my future. So, and I'm grateful for this podcast as well.
Megan, what are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful for my friends that I made in recovery because, I'm the only addict in my family. So they don't understand addiction, but the recovery family that I have, they understand it. So if I'm struggling, I know that I can reach out to them and they'll help me through it the best they can. So, yeah.
Thanks. JJ, what are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful for recovery. I'm grateful for my parents. I'm grateful for my sister. I'm grateful that my sister actually wants to be a part of the show. I'm grateful that, I'm grateful for second chances and thirds and however many. Like,
Amen.
you don't get much, but you don't get very, very many chances. But when you do, you got to take advantage of it.
Heck yeah. Matt, what are you grateful for today? And hit us with that quote too.
I'm grateful for this podcast, like especially my relationships. Like, I mean, today is like I'm really grateful for today because I was able to go and do my driver's test, and I have to become a licensed driver today. So
Yeah. Recovery works.
oh yeah, it's just persevering and being patient with recovery.
Off
Like,
the sidewalks.
oh no, I had an uncle already messaged me or like comment on my post that I did. It's not about the devil is real. How could God allow this to happen?
Wow.
Yeah, he's just.
Yeah.
I knew he was joking, but it was a good one. No, that's what I'm really grateful for, because I couldn't have happened without like my girlfriend and her family like allowing me to use their vehicle to do it.
Yeah, hell yeah. And
So the quote I picked, like, I guess it really stands on like this whole scenario with like, especially with JJ speaking tonight. So people know, like, I pick these quotes up before the speaker even gets a chance to speak, and they so happen to like sometimes really touch like perfectly with like what they talked about. So here it is: a positive attitude can overcome a negative situation.
hell yeah.
Damn, if that
Yeah,
doesn't,
yeah,
if that
because
doesn't
we all
hit the
know,
nail-
like JJ, like he mentioned, like he went through a relapse, but he came back into these rooms with a positive attitude, which overcame that relapse.
How you show up affects a lot of things.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely.
So,
hit the nail on the
hey,
head.
before we get into final thoughts with Tad, I want to say we love all of you. We will be back here same time next Friday. You guys all have a good weekend, and you know what? You're loved. You're valued. If you want to hit me or Tim up, our info's on here. There's a link for 2218. If you want to support the club, come here, be a pledging member. Tim, what do you got?
I just wanted to once again say my heart goes out to Teresa and your family. I'm sorry about your loss, and we're with you. And sorry again, and we love you. And anyone who's listening, as Tad said, if someone hasn't told you today, you are loved and you're not alone. Please reach out if you're struggling. It goes without saying, closed mouths don't get fed. If you're hurting, we don't know unless you tell us. So please let us know when you're hurting. Tad, please. Dun, dun, dun. Final thoughts with the one, the only, Tad.
Not that long ago, people didn't even think I had a single thought, and now I get final thoughts. What a weird turn of
Chad,
events.
have I told you look really pretty today?
Whoa.
No, but I can tell.
All right.
Anyways, moving along. So I'm going to give my little role model speech before I get into final thoughts, and this is something that's been prevalent for me lately. So we are all role models to someone.
Yes.
We're in the rooms, and as you get more service positions or just showing up, people watch you. And where I'm at my life, I learned this, you know, when I became president of Squad Council, and I started doing things and just getting these titles, and they're just titles. I'm just a person. They're service work. But when I showed up incorrectly, started screaming at people, flipped out on someone with 1 day clean or in treatment thought they could act that way because I did. And they weren't at a place where it was okay for them to act that way. They might have gotten kicked out of treatment or something. And now it's not my fault, but I have a responsibility as someone in recovery, as a predecessor. I have, you know, and someone famous in some superhero, you know, movie said, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
And, you know, so I have a responsibility to myself and to other people to show up my best. And I don't always succeed at this. So what I'm going to go into with final thoughts with Ted is we are all leaders. Every one of us is a leader. Some of us in position, namesake, and some of us just by showing up. Tim touched on it earlier. We never know when someone's watching us. What type of leader are you going to be? Is the sky always falling? Are you Chicken Little? Or are you going to find a solution in the We program together with people? Are you a bailer or are you a grinder? Do you take all the punches that happen and get up and rally and live in the solution like this programs do? Or do you take your ball and go home? And you know what? When we fight for causes and we've been somewhere a long time, we all get tired. I've been there. Whether you're a leader or a person, you know what? You need to know when to walk away or to stop talking. Because if you've been emotionally compromised, people are going to take a cue from you. And if you're the person that's the voice of reason most of the time, and now you're saying the ship is sinking, we're on the Titanic, what do you think the rest of the people are going to do? They're going to be in panic mode. The ship's going to be sinking. And, you know, so whether I have to have other people talk for me, use my tools, like Tim said, or I have to call someone because I am unchecked before I send an email back to someone that offended me, or a message, or make a butt of myself and say what I really want to say, I have tools in my belt. I have people that I can call. And, today when I made that call, wow, that wasn't that bad. I understand you want to swear, Tad. And by the time I got to the third call and said, I don't think I'm right for the podcast tonight, Tim's like, it was mild, was it not, Tim?
Very mild.
Compared to what it would have been, because I use my tools. So, and that hurtly, with this, I also don't get to judge how other people show up as a leader. That's their story. I only get to show up how I show up. I can mentor people. I can say what I want, but I'm not in control. I've told you this. The world would be a messed up place if Tab was in control. I constantly have to turn my will over. So as a leader, as a person, we all just need to remember that you never know who your role model is. We all have bad days. We all want to give up at times. Where do we get our strength from? Who's listening to us? I love you all. This has been Final Thoughts with Tad. You guys all have a great weekend. Have a great week, and we will see you next week. Don't give up, no matter what.